Wow.
We made it, ladies and gentlemen! It's done!
It's my fault. I apologize to everyone. I told him that I couldn't mute him today, and it was a lie. I could mute him, but he just took that cue. Oh.
Wow.
Come on. We're here at a moment, provisionally, where so many people thought we wouldn't be. It's a momentous occasion, not just for Microsoft, but for the gaming industry. That's right, consolidation. But we have so much to talk about. We really, really do. And I have these incredible gents always at the front lines of the war against Sony. It is Hargeet Chani, public enemy number one.
Have I risen to that level?
Bro, every time I get you on the show, yeah, I get, see, you're such a piece of shit because you're not on Twitter, yeah? I get fucked. For some reason, I'm the next Asian guy, so they offer me. What? Bro, it's always a pleasure, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. I finished up that useless 7 out of 10 game, and then moved on to Baldur's Gate 3, which for some reason I hated. Go figure.
You didn't like Baldur's Gate?
I didn't like it at all.
It's gonna be.
And
12 hours on it. All right. It's not going to be for everyone.
Didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And then I moved on to Sea of Stars, and that one's pretty good. That's but I'm very early on. But that one's pretty good. But yeah, I like that's been my gaming for a bit. I hear a whole bunch of cool things have been coming out, and they're pretty good too. And it's just too many good games, man. And we'll have a long freaking fall time frame to play a whole bunch of awesome stuff. So,
it is such a, we keep saying it's incredible year, and it is.
Game Pass might be getting some new games too. I don't know. Maybe there's some.
Yeah. So much happening. Finally. Finally. After so much, it just came out of nowhere. Everything happened at once. We're getting some mad news. And speaking of news, a gentleman who has made himself notorious B.I.G. for telling the truth for months. But you came after this man, the deliverer of facts and truth. It is.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me once again. I'm chilling, man. I'm still playing that 7 out of 10 game, but it's so much to play, man. It's Party Animal, Texas Chainsaw, Payday 3, Lies of Peas, then Forza Motor. What do we find the time?
Yeah.
And it's just so much to play, but I'm ready to get to it, man.
Bro, there's a lot there. How do you get time for it, man?
It's too much.
Bro, I've got mad. You kind of wrapped up what you've been playing as you were talking and doing intros. Asa, what have you been playing?
An awful week of PC failure after PC failure. So I've not been playing a whole lot. I've managed to get a couple of sessions of Baldur's Gate 3 in, which I really like Baldur's Gate 3. So slowly ticking away on that on the Tuesdays and Fridays. I have played a couple of other things, but mostly I had an NVMe drive failure on the PC that is bringing you this show right now. So I've had to rebuild the entirety of it. If things go wrong, oh well.
It's not a Samsung NVMe drive, because I think Zorka had that as well.
You say it's a chance.
It's not. Actually, it kind of is, but it's not the one that had there was a line of Samsung drives that did have a problem. It's not one of those, I don't think. Maybe it is.
Oh shit, man, that's crazy. That scares me because I'm working on this source video, and if I lose that, fuck, I don't know what I'd do. Spend hours on it.
Either of you played BG3?
I haven't played BG3.
You played it? Okay, and what did you think of it? Well, I guess we can make it a topic. We can just go into it later.
Yeah,
That'd
I
be
mean, we
interesting.
can. I mean, BG3, to be honest, Ace has kind of summed up his points. You aren't that hyped about it, or you heard that later on it gets a bit janky?
Me, no. So it's obviously not very broad interest, not broad appeal as a game. So it's really freaking good at what it does, but that definitely doesn't mean that everybody's going to like it, because it is a tabletop game brought to PC, and very, very much so. So I'd never say, like, when I'm playing it, that everyone's going to love this game. It's not pick up and play by any stretch, and it's actually pretty difficult to begin with. I haven't got to the end, so there's a lot of talk that because it was in early access for like 2 years and everyone played Act 1 to death, and the devs refined it and refined it and refined it and polished and polished and polished it, that Act 1 is at a higher standard than the later parts of the game because they haven't had that level of playtesting yet. But by the time I get there, they will have done, so I'm not too worried.
Yeah. No, yeah, I've heard that. Game's quite big, so you probably get there after a while. I haven't played it. I've got loads to play. I'm just on Armored Core still. And I haven't gone that far since last week. I almost completed it. Well, I think I have. Almost completed. I don't know how far I am, but it's been a mad week, man. Mortal Kombat 1, that is calling me, bro. Like, I need to play that. I follow a Mortal Kombat on page on Twitter, and there's more every day. He just puts up for fatalities. So he's been putting up fatalities of older games and lead up to this, and I've just been watching it, like the progression. For me, I'm pretty big on Mortal Kombat, and they keep putting the Mortal Kombat 1, the new one, fatalities. They look insane. So
I love the
crazy.
Switch comparison so much, like so much.
What?
Have you seen that? I'm gonna find it.
That, but yeah, I haven't seen it that much. Is it really bad?
It is bad.
So funny.
It is
Really?
horrible. It is horrible.
I'm going to bring up IGN
even know it
video.
was
They did a
out
good
on
comparison.
Switch.
I didn't even know it was on Switch too, but at this point, I don't even, man.
I love it so much.
well-
This is the best tech comparison that there is, because they just don't get this interesting in other arenas.
What the fuck is that, bro? It's like a different game. Wait, let me see the freaking.
You'll get back to that.
Yeah, God, what the hell, man? Xbox Series X, and then boom. Yo,
Yeah,
that's a mobile phone game, bro. That
Basically.
is bad.
But here's the
That's
thing:
bad.
you
But it's
can play
really-
the game, and like ultimately, as long as it plays, whatever.
No, look closer.
It is definitely a lot lower
Yeah.
res. Obviously, it's a lot. The texture qualities are ridiculous.
Like 10 generations difference, man.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
PS2
funny because
shit.
you can't get Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat 1 on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 because it's next gen only. But then they did this for the
Yeah.
Switch.
Why did they do that?
I don't
So
understand
random.
that. I don't understand that.
either. Like, it's weird because that's the game
It's
that's
amazing.
like
I love it.
Nintendo's like it looks so bad. Yo, that's actually kind of
What is up with her hair?
yeah. Oh my god, it looks like freaking chrome on her head.
But again, I'll just say, like if somebody wants to play, it's available. Like that's just the thing it is, and you're probably going to see more of this as games start coming to. Right, there was an announcement of games coming to the iPhone, and that's still lower power than
Yeah.
the latest Samsung, right? And so this is just going to keep happening, right? The new phones will come out next year, the year after, or whatever, and they'll keep bringing more and more AAA games to it.
I'm just
They're
thinking
probably
the
going to do
install
things like this,
base.
take shortcuts, right? But hey, it is what
The
it is. You can
install
play the
base
game.
is undeniable. The install
Yeah,
base.
Exactly.
man. Bro,
It is what it
I
is.
think people are underestimating someone like Apple
if they
coming
sell
into
a million
the space.
of them on Switch, it made it worth it. It's just the
Yeah.
way it is.
Mhm.
But if people on mobile, because we saw this looks crazy. If we saw this week we saw an Apple phone playing Resident Evil 7 or something. It looked insane. Can someone
RE4
explain to me
remake.
what that's local on the phones?
It's running
Freaking-
native.
Who
It's
was
running
saying
native.
that? Was there somebody saying that was going to happen? That phones were going to get.
Yeah, you did. You,
Bob-
Somebody, I think, said that. I don't remember who that
it was your video script in my head right now. Oh man, yeah. So you have been saying it. In fact, chat. Huggy had a video like basically more or less done. He did the narration on it, talking about the tech that would go in forward and how technology will scale. And he explicitly mentioned devices either on your TV natively, on your phones, tablets, mobile devices. They'll be so powerful that they'll be playing these. And here lo and behold, we're seeing Resident that phone, bro. If that will bring so many people now, whether or not I don't see why they wouldn't, because people on iPhone plug it in. You can play with a PlayStation controller, Xbox, whatever. That is insane.
He's
man.
doing that in ray tracing too.
Yep.
He's doing that in ray tracing and is running natively.
Yeah,
that's native. Then you've got you
have to think where and that's just the first iteration of that chip. You just got to see how that tech and that chip is going to scale over the next models of the iPhone. And you got to pay attention to what Apple is doing. I don't think they didn't already built their latest OS in terms of gaming and allowing like a Proton-like environment to run Windows games.
Yep.
But they also said developers, you can get better performance if you write code native to Mac OS now. Now they're doing this with the phone
on ARM chips. Exactly.
You're pretty much going to have a console in your pocket at some point in the next couple of years. And with the USB-C port on there, you go USB-C to HDMI to your TV.
Or it's very likely,
that's what they were showing.
This way, they'll just have a wireless protocol. They'll have a little applet that runs on your TV that says, "Hey, boom! You can just play your game, connect the controller to your mobile phone, and have it stream the video straight to the TV. Boom, done." Right? This stuff is coming. It's coming.
And then you look at how popular the Apple TV box is. You get that chip into an Apple TV box, which has
easily could do.
Yeah,
could do.
And Apple TV box supports Xbox and PlayStation
and
controllers.
You got another console.
Very. I mean, I was impressed by that. But Asa, what do you think about this kind of like mobile power, and how does that sit in with the cloud landscape?
I was honestly quite underwhelmed by what we saw from the iPhone 15. I expected, like, for a device that costs $1,500. Yes, it's small, but that stream that you saw was 720p and 30 frames per second, because they've got some bastardized ancient version of USB-C on that device to hold the whole thing back. It could probably output a lot better than that if they just changed the capacity of that port. I think that this particular iteration of the phone is so far off of what you can get from GeForce Now that it's not worth considering if you actually like the high-end games. So things like Resident Evil are not where the business is. But what's more interesting is obviously Apple have phones, but they've got a much broader ecosystem as well that covers tablets, that covers Apple TV, that covers high-end Macs, that covers virtual reality in the near future. So if they want to take gaming seriously, then they're well positioned to do it. But that's an open question with Apple, because they've always talked the talk. They've always talked like they're going to take gaming seriously. They've always taken steps in that direction. And then you look at what you've got and it's almost nothing over and over and over again. So watch that space and see what their appetite is, because you get the impression they see that amount of money, but they don't necessarily want to put that much work into it. Maybe that'll change. Maybe it won't.
The Steve Jobs led Apple, right? Because Steve Jobs would have just done it. He would have had like a whole plan. Like every year, he would come up with something new, right? Since then, what do you see? Like, and this is how it was when Steve Jobs left the first time. Apple just kind of took what they had and just said, we'll incrementally keep doing whatever we do to it. There's no revolutionary thing. Whereas Steve Jobs would reinvent. He would reinvent. He's like, we got to go here. We're going to just go here. I don't know. We're jumping here. I don't care. That's what we're doing. Right. And the company needs to focus on what I'm saying. Right. That can be chaotic and annoying, but it also makes the industry shift. Right. And, it's been totally different. Apple without Steve Jobs is just it's not the same Apple.
I question that too, so why they put two different ports? Like the i15 Pro has the lower standard USB, but the Pro Max has the fast. Why not just equip both of them with the same port? Like, so you're trying to push the Pro users to the Pro Max? I don't think that difference in speed in terms of port is gonna do that. I don't know.
We'll
why
eventually
they do
get
stuff
there,
like
right?
that. Yeah,
but I mean that's still that's just one facet of mobile gaming. I think cloud. With the Cyberpunk ray tracing stuff, the new update that's come out, we'll talk about in a sec. But we can talk about it now. The new update is out. I haven't had a chance to play it, but all I'm seeing is like freaking Digital Foundry and their path tracing, ray traced fully thing, and I looked at it and I'm like, I'm going PC.
So I was thinking about that, Gaz. Like, if you and
I saw
know
that
people
tweet.
are gonna get pissed off about this, but in reality, if you haven't jumped into either the PS5 or the Xbox Series X, that's $1,000 if you wanted to get both of them. For about $1,200, I just put together something on Newegg. Just about $1,200 gets you a 4060 Ti, gets you a 5800X 3D AMD CPU, which is one of the very close to the top gaming CPUs. 32 gigs of memory, terabyte of SSD, right? So you get pretty much, if those who don't know, 4060 is about a 22 teraflop GPU from NVIDIA. So it's twice the performance of a PS5, about that of a Series X as well, right? For $1,200. Now, you don't have to pay for online. You can get the cheapest version of Game Pass, which includes EA, right? So $10 a month instead of $17 a month. And that $200 differential gets made up pretty fast. And all the games are there, right? So
yeah,
yes,
but then you have to think of the
FOMO.
PSU. You have to think of the case.
No,
and all
I'm
that.
saying totally, all of it.
Oh, total bill,
$1,200,
1,200.
soup to nuts, the whole thing, right?
Oh.
With all that specs, about $1,200. People keep thinking you have to get a 4090. A 4090 is $2,000 on its own. You don't have to get a 4090. You don't have to get a 4090, right?
If I
now,
should I
if
get
you want
a
to do it,
4090?
go for it. But you don't have to.
But that's the only card that can do path tracing, right? Or really well.
So really well.
4080
That's the
can.
thing, right? Yeah. So
4080
you can get a little bit lower and do it. Yeah, but like yes, if you want all that, but then you're foregoing the stuff that you can do on a Series X or PS5 anyway, right? If you just want an equivalent PC that does a bit better, and the beauty of the PC is you can tone down res, you can tone down features and still get 60 or more frames, right? It's up to you. You choose, right? And the games are generally cheaper. And Game Pass is cheaper, right? So overall, I think $1,200
I use my
for
PC a
general
lot.
range PC, it's not bad.
Now, bro saw
Yeah.
that path tracing. He like,
Bro, man, I've seen Aces
I
do
get
it.
that, but I mean,
yeah,
you're gonna
for
pay for
me-
that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I might go for a full 4090 because for the video editing.
If you want to, absolutely, right? And that's the beauty of the PC. Is you
Yeah.
can do whatever you like. You can go to mid range. You can go to low end. You can
I
say,
just
you know
like
what, I'm going to
console
spend
better.
like I did. I'm going to go all top end.
I
Right.
think if
Fair
you're
enough.
taking in
Option
content
B though,
creation
like
and the
if you
editing
just
stuff, yeah.
yeah, content creation editing, the 4090 is like wonderful for that sort of thing. But if you just want to see Cyberpunk path traced, get a month of GeForce Now Ultimate tier for like 17
you can try
quid
that.
and do it, and it's gorgeous.
Wow. So a lot of people did say that. Said just get a sub. Like I was saying, I might just build a PC. Well, I might build a PC anyway for the video editing, but yeah, like you're saying that, Asa, that's fucking crazy to me, man. Like, even though this is what surprises me, I need to try a GeForce Now. But a part of well, I don't know what to talk about first. There's so much here. Well, let's just quickly talk
Always
about this.
stuff to talk about.
Let's just quickly get the CMA topic out of the way so we can talk about games and stuff for Ace's sake. The CMA, the big one, we're here finally. It just seems like it's been a massive ordeal. Obviously, it's provisionally, so the CMA has provisionally passed the deal, and it's done. What angle has any third party to cancel it now? It'd be some oddity would have to cancel this deal, but which is a deal which I said from the beginning is always going to go through. Always going to go through. I've got the clips, and I was saying I just can't see big business being stopped this way, and big business won. Business won. Whether or not that's a good thing for the general corporate world, I don't know, because we need some regulations and checks. But in this case, I'm glad because it was, in my opinion, the right decision. Shock to you all, revelatory that Gaz is in support of this, but definitely was, and definitely happy to see this finally come to bed. But at one point, post up the game, this thing didn't look spooky. So, what's your take on it? Like look,
I've been of the same mind since day one that this was going to go through. Even when things was going wrong or seemed like it was going to be bad and it wasn't going to happen, when people out here making songs talking about block the deal and all that stuff, I still 10 toes down and said, look, I'm going to go down with the ship. whether it go through or not. If it don't go through, I'm gonna sink with the ship. But I think my perspective on this is that the CMA and Microsoft was working on this behind the scenes, even during the FTC trial, even during the tribunal trial. Because I remember Sarah Bond flew out to UK. Right?
Yeah,
she had a picture of him.
That's when they would have been talking for a while.
Yeah. And she said she was out there for a family trip. I'm like, nah, she's not just out there for a family trip. They got this restructured, and it was all because the CMA was badly losing. The FTC had just lost badly in that trial, preliminary injunction trial. Then the CMA started to lose terribly in the tribunal trial. So I just think they did this, did it to save face. They did some restructuring. They brought it to the CMA. The CMA said, okay, we're going to send this out to third parties, see what they have to say about it. Probably got some feedback, did some revising to it, and then now today they say, okay, we at a point where we can approve this thing. Any issues that we had, we got resolved. And now we finna send it back out to third parties so they can see the changes and things that we made. If there's no issues, then the final it's pretty much done from here on out.
Pretty much a done deal.
I told everybody, guys. They called me everything but a child of God, guys. I was called fake lawyer, armchair lawyer. They lied and said I called that I was actually a lawyer in real life. They threatened my kids. They talked about my. They did everything. Yeah, I posted a picture of my kids. They came under the comment section, all because of me reporting on this deal.
I did not know it got that raw. I thought the worst
talk
I
about
saw
your
was
job and shit too. Like
my job.
Yeah, I saw that.
They called me a low income.
Just because you didn't live. Apparently that was bad. Bro, you cannot. You
what
can.
kind of crap is that?
He had a cartoon profile picture. That guy's never touched a woman in his life. He will just fucking sit there and fester in this little basement, man. Don't fucking worry about that.
I got some of the. I'm talking about not just on Twitter, on podcasts. People, I heard people talk about me in spaces that I didn't even know.
I get that quite often. I just get sent X clips of people just gunning me down on random spaces. I'm just laughing my head off. Like, yes, we got cry more, you bastard. I want to hear my name fucking piss you off.
It's quiet now. What happened to the 9-hour spaces? What happened to the 7-hour spaces? When it was on the Cubs that they felt like that deal was gonna be blocked. It was a celebration on Twitter. They were celebrating everywhere. Spaces, tweets, podcasts.
Bruv, it was just like madness. It's just like the lead up to it, yeah, because we'll talk about the leaks afterwards, but that came out. So the leaks came out, and Derek Strickland from what's the Tweaktown did a graph showing the profitability of it, and I've never seen a graph fucking piss a whole group of people off so much. This graph was like a gift, because just before that they were saying, Microsoft. We'll talk about this as well. Phil Spencer alluding to a period where they need to see substantial growth, or they could see themselves perhaps walking away. Yeah, that's not going to happen after this $70 billion deal, you fucking idiot. But everyone still had it. The ponies have that 2027 in their calendar. Their memes revolve around that. 2027 isn't that far away. It's like 4 years away, yeah? But okay, we'll all get a bit older. But I'm willing to wait to see the fucking egg on some people's faces about that. Because
When in 2028 they're still in
2028 now, and then it's going to be like their wait for E3 moment.
It's so screenshot now.
It's been delayed by 2 years. They're going to be exiting. Trust me, they're going to be exiting. It's 2 years. It's 2029 now.
That is exactly
the doomsday clock. The doomsday clock.
Oh, man, it's so fucking funny, man. How can you not enjoy the console? It's such jokes, and then. That's happening. Then Derek Strickland then takes down the fucking chart. He goes, you know what? It's too complicated. We can't compare profits like this. The ponies, like, one of them was like, the chart's still up there, fucking Derek. Is it fucking calm down, bro? It was so funny, man. Because
it's still there, Derek. It hasn't been removed.
Yeah, I know, man. It's so fucking hilarious, man. Bro, then after that, yeah, there was like, oh, they took it down. What's happening? It's failure. Boom, CMA passes. Vacuum silence. It is just silence on the pony side. It is just, I think J-Dub is the only guy just doing some work there. Everyone else
He tried. He did not succeed.
I know it didn't work for J-Dub, but at least bless him, it tried.
Even he went quiet after.
Bro, man, it was just fucking war. I have so many receipts. This is why the source video is taking so long. I have so
they
many
keep coming, right?
Yeah, but I'm just gonna have to cut away half the content because there's so many people who celebrate so wrong about this whole thing, and then they were so toxic. I wasn't that toxic, but I was a little bit. But it's just like, it goes to show that, and the same consolidation cries came about, and then you had some devs actually chirp up as well. Not some devs, like minor dev here and there. But generally, I feel like this one is done. People are, as you expect, talking about the next one already. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, I was joking about it, but people are like, they can embrace it, they can get this and that. But there is one studio that I think Xbox should be buying right now. Right now. And it's Crystal Dynamics. So if they can somehow
agreed,
get them
100% agreed, because they're starting to do layoffs, right? I mean, we should I hope they are already talking to them, right? I'm sure they've been in the background talking to a whole bunch of people, right? It's a question of who do they actually go after. But just to remind people, I was the first to say this was going to happen when Lena Khan went after Meta and Within, but we all knew, like, as it was part of it, was like, she's just going to sue, right? But we know this is going to go through. This is always going to go through. But we knew the crap was coming. There was going to be a whole bunch of shenanigans. And then we had to just go through the shenanigans. Eventually, this thing was gonna go.
We'll talk about this. We'll talk about. We'll bring it to an end. But before we do, let me just quickly read these super chats. Have been very. Oh shit! Where's the music? Shout out to KJ Wars 85. Now is a member of GameOnDaily. Welcome, bro. Black Cobra with a $2 super chat. The fact that Reforged called Spiderman 2 and Ghost of Tsushima an RPG. I saw fucking Fonz go on there on Twitter. I was like, that's not an RPG, it's an action RPG. And someone goes, you play a role of a person. So it's a role-playing game. I'm like, oh my fucking days.
Wow.
That makes every game
Did he actually say that?
Yeah, fucking look at Fon's quote tweet and just like put eyes emoji, and I'm like, I just put the King of the Hill.
Look at Jason face.
Shout out to 600 people watching us. Bro, I just want to play this.
Does that mean like Forza Motorsport is an RPG?
Because you're playing the role of a.
Yeah. So shout out to Black Cobra.
I see Mario is definitely an RPG. You get power ups. I mean,
He's so weird. I won't read some. I'm not on this show. Not on this show. Game trailers with a $2 super chat. What's up? Post also Gaz's fake news. Okay. I am. I'm not Fox News. I'll see Polygons with a $10 super chat. If ABK was almost done. If ABK almost done, if almost is done, there's so many franchises that will be under Xbox. What would you all want to see come back? For me, it's Prototype. More silly choices, Candy Crush native for Xbox version. I've seen a lot of people say that.
yeah, that could happen. Wasn't there something about that? Didn't they have like a stub for that game at some point in the store?
I have no idea. Who fucking cares? Fuck Candy Crush. Let's talk about
what the hey, right?
But the exciting bit, Prototype gets mentioned a lot. I think people are going to feel it when Spider-Man comes out, and they were like, "We want an action superhero game."
So here's an interesting question for you, right? Disney reached out and said, "Hey, we would like to talk about licensing for some of the games that Activision has, right? So that they could bring them to Game Pass." There's the entire like Spider-Man series that Activision made, right? There's a whole bunch of Spider-Man games. Do you think they'll get that license? Do you think they will in fact have Spider-Man as one of the characters on Xbox, bringing back all
these
those
conversations
Activision
can
Spider-Man
happen.
games?
Absolutely. ABK's a powerhouse. You've got enough talent now to facilitate all kind of dank memes.
Right, and we'll take memes, but I mean, really, they could be bringing like I don't know, it was 4 or 5 or whatever number of Spider-Man games they made, right? Activision made a bunch. They had the license for a while, right? And those could be coming to Game Pass, right? They could all be coming into Game Pass.
That is a good question. Will they?
So Spider-Man could be more so an Xbox character.
Oh god, well, is it going to be Insomniac level though? The answer is no.
I mean, whatever it is, it's Activision level or whatever that is, right? But it is.
Okay, the level going to be quite high if they're not working on the same fucking title. You never know. No, absolutely. Silent Cypher with the $2 super chat. Team Blue's been very hostile the last few days. They've also been very quiet, silent, unlike you, because you're silent. No. Like you, sorry. BT Maverick with the $10 super chat. Xbox shows a model of a Series X without a disk drive in a leaked email, and all of a sudden it's debt to physical games. What the fuck was that about? To the media like IGN and Digital Foundry, they don't even mention the PlayStation 5 diskless that exists.
Wasn't there a freaking patent for that? They're gonna make a diskless version. Well, they already have one, and
they already have one, man. It's so fucking stupid. What is wrong with people? Like,
isn't a revision? Aren't they removing the disc from the revision? That's
what people are saying. Like they could well add a disc drive, but the new Series X is supposed to replace the old one, so Xbox wouldn't have a disc-based console, is what people were up in arms about.
Oh, so they'll eventually run out of the disc space, so they're going to stop.
Right? We don't know if PlayStation would continue with the disc drive either, right? Because they were looking at a disc drive accessory.
That
was going to be their future plan. And
which could well be what Microsoft's
do the same thing
planning,
on the Xbox side. Yeah.
But just to explain, like that's what people were waving about.
I've never used a disc drive on my Xbox.
I like having the option. I like having the option because I can take that and play like movies, but also I have my 360 library. I have my original Xbox library, and those are discs, right? I have some Xbox One games. I like being able to just hey, I have the disc, I'll just play it, right? The other cool thing is if I have the drive, I can move it to any Xbox.
That's what real game preservation is. Let's be real,
exactly.
bro.
I've got the disc.
Digital preservation is the real one. That's what I care about. Like my digital library carries on with me. That's the main thing I care about. Realistically, you got a lot of people saying fucking forever physical. Like, what the fuck, man?
What they're afraid of is certain games being turned off, and that's fair, right? It does happen. There is a slight headache even with backwards compatibility. You do have to maintain enough of a server infrastructure to have the BC code come down, right? So hopefully that always stays. So even if the game is offline, you can still put your disc in and get that backwards compatibility update.
I mean, it can be turned off even from a physical disc perspective. It can still be turned off.
It can, but there is the really obvious distinction, and I'm not a proponent of physical games particularly. Like I've not bought one since Rise Son of Rome on the Xbox One. But the very obvious argument is if you've got a digital library, and then you're essentially saying like Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, Valve, whoever it may be, can tell you that you don't have that library anymore. Like you are giving away a lot of control over your own library because they can just cut off your account.
I agree with that.
So that's why people are defending the ownership of discs. And while it's not my fight, I definitely do appreciate it as a legitimate one.
Yeah.
Well, that's already been happening on PlayStation.
That's the problem.
That's already been happening on PlayStation. You know how many people who've been on Twitter record conversations with PlayStation customer service?
Not the ones with discs.
Not the ones with discs.
Well, yeah, okay. Well,
I'm all digital. I ain't never used a disc drive on my Series X. I don't even know if it might work. It might not. I don't know.
Yeah, same. Like fucking. Do you want to put a disc in there? It feels like wrong.
I've always said
I still use them. So.
For me, we are definitely losing out on something by not having physical games. So I've always said, for me, like innovation trumps that kind of preservation for sure. So they have to give me something. Like if you make games that are better as a result of requiring online connections and all the rest of it, I'm all in. I appreciate that. I approve of that. I've got no problem. But if you're just taking away my rights because it suits you, then actually,
this same reaction came with music. The same with music CDs and preservation's there. And now you can't find a car with a CD-ROM drive in it to play anything.
Why would you? Like new cars won't have that. Like CD drive is defunct. It's gone.
Yeah.
Technology's gone. Like so, like but Ace is right. You need to show us stuff. But that's an online. Always online vision, which is basically let's be real, DRM is pretty much like kind of pervaded into these consoles over a period of time. Like you're starting to see games
always been there. It's always been there.
It's been there, but
had DRM in them, but it's just whatever. That's just the way.
Practically, it's just kind of becoming a thing. But we still need to see some strides in the freaking tech or using these tech online.
With audio, at least you had instead of giving you a high quality CD audio bar, right, or even higher than that with SACDs and DVD audio, you are getting a lower bit rate, right? Okay, that's a fair thing. And then we had other companies kind of come in and say, hey, we'll give you a higher quality, lossless, or so instead of a lossy compression, we'll give you a lossless compression, right? And you'd have the cleanest audio, but people didn't care. They went with the cheapest thing, and it was good enough, right? Now, look, there are people who are going to say, well, that's crap, and I'm an audiophile and want that. Fair enough, right? And we still have vinyl, for Pete's sake, so you can still go to that if you like. For those kind of things probably still are around. You can get FLAC, you can get whatever, so there are some that do that. I'm like that with movies. I want to keep my 4K Blu-ray, right? I find that the quality level
actually
is higher.
better though. That's the difference.
It is. Especially the audio part of it is definitely a lot better. The video quality is also better, but the audio quality is substantially better than what you get with streaming. So like the bitrate difference is something like 10 to 15 megabits to 40 to 50 megabits. It's a huge jump, right? So you're getting a lot more data. So it is definitely a better quality, right? So I generally I try to go with disc over streaming. That isn't everybody though, right? And I totally recognize that, right? But for me, I want that, right? Because I'm also on a 140-inch projected screen, right? So you're going to see the blemishes. You're going to see if it's not, like at the DVD, the Blu-ray 4K quality, you're going to notice it. It's going to be a lower quality, right? So I generally see that. I'm also on a 1.4 massive Atmos, room.
The sound system. So you can sympathize then for the gaming equivalent then.
For the gaming, I don't think it's like that, because the difference is you're getting bit for bit the same game. You're not getting a difference, right? It's not like there's a lower quality when you get a download. It's the same bloody game, right? So you're not getting a difference, right? But where it's more problematic is what Asa was saying is like, your account could be locked. Right. Yeah. What do you do then? Right. If your account gets taken away, everything you bought, thousands of dollars of stuff, it's just gone. Right. Whereas if you have the disc, you have the disc. You've got it. You can at least play what you have. Right. That's the thing that people are more afraid of. And I agree with that. That's fair. Where it's viable, you should just be able to get that. If you want to have the disc, fine. You have the disc. Give them an option. I don't see the big deal. Just an accessory. It's whatever, $50 accessory. If you want it, go for it. I have no problem with that. I can understand from Microsoft's perspective and even Sony's perspective, putting a disk drive in there is a cost. And people, it's like $10, $12, who cares? For everything, when you make tens of millions of something, a 5-cent thing makes a lot of difference. So every amount they save is a big deal. So they want to cut down everything they can to make it as cheap as possible. So I can totally see taking out the drive and saying, look, we've got the data. Only 2% of people ever put a disk in the drive. We're just not going to bother, and we'll give it as an option for those who want it as an accessory. I totally agree with that.
So if I'm sure they can get an accessory for it.
It's not if they did it before with the HD DVD drive, right? It's
totally oh god, that thing. So I mean, that was one of the things that came about it, which was well, I think we'll talk about it now. Actually, let me read these super chats. So Robbie, thank you so much for the £5 super chat and for being a member as well. He goes, the CMA finally bent the knee, and now Sony is a customer of Microsoft and Xbox. The pony salt is piling up. Question is, who's next? Sega, Crystal. I mentioned Crystal Dynamics, like we talked about earlier. They're basically, Embracer are having issues, man. They're actively looking for basically acquisitions, take on projects. In a bad way. How does that happen? How do you end up buying?
Well, because they had stuff lined up. Remember, it was. We think it's Saudi Arabia, right? It was supposed to invest.
It was the Saudis.
$1 billion into them.
$2 billion.
And they pulled it back.
Yeah, Saudi pulled the $2 billion, and that messed up everything.
Oh,
That's
wow.
a lot of investment, right? So
Why did the Saudis pull out like that? We don't know, I guess.
I don't know. I think they said it was a change or something, but
Big boy businessman.
they could have been seeing the slate of releases they had, and a lot of them did not do that well, right? So and maybe they just got spooked and they're like, well,
oh yeah, you're right about that. They haven't really been hitting the quality market. 2 billion. The Saudis may have probably entertained this when everything was going crazy, with the market was madly
invest, right?
Hargeet, I keep getting distracted every now and again. Your background comes out saying local woman's outraged that her fireworks have vandalized her letterbox or something.
That was for the CMA topic. Let me just change it.
I think you still got to pay attention to the Saudis as well, because I think they can be a big player in terms of the next big acquisitions when you're talking about EA, Take-Two, or one of them. I think Microsoft, Sony are pretty much any big company in the U.S. probably have problems with those acquisitions. I know Microsoft is going to have issues after this one, but Saudi probably sat back and looked at this Activision deal and was rubbing their hands like, okay,
we need something here, because everyone is talking about gaming, and then after things settled, so I don't think Microsoft would enter into this deal today at this time. Had the same exact scenario minus COVID had applied, because the COVID added this whole freaking generated hype. People were at homes playing this game, and gaming just boomed, and that was seen as like, I think the industry overestimated the mass appetite for gaming that has seen a drop off. You saw a massive surge of hardware sales. You could argue that
though. I think they saw that. They knew there was going to be a dip down, right? They knew there was going to be a bump because people are at home.
Yeah.
And they knew there was going to be a dip down. They all.
I just feel like from an executive level, like the suits there, like you could tell, like, well, metaverse, that's the big one. That was a big part of the narrative that justified even this acquisition, and now it's dead. Like even
that dropped off the table quick.
Metaverse is dead. Like the whole freaking billions, and I mean billions, from Facebook, everyone, from Meta, like putting Microsoft was committing ABKs. The first thing in the press release was this Metaverse. It seems like a meme now, but it's just like a really bad Second Life on PlayStation and VR. It's like, what the fuck? How is it? How did you become billionaires? And then you do something like this? Like, it's so fucking stupid. Like, what, glorified VR? This was in the metaverse? It was enough to sell Phil Spencer, though. And all the corporate people are talking about metaverse. And this is dead. It's so weird.
Define metaverse, right? If you're talking about metaverse being part of a VR environment, that's one thing. If you're talking about metaverse being, digital transactions within digital medium, well, that's a different thing, and it still will continue, right? Gaming
but the thing
is one of the biggest ones that does it.
Yeah, but the thing is, even Phil Spencer doesn't define it that way and categorize it that way. He even said in the interview, like, you heard a lot about the metaverse, but that's dead. Yeah, I think he used those words. Like that's crazy. So yeah, I mean that's died. So but Microsoft are in. They're committed now. They put all their money in, irrespective of whether or not their appetite has like lessened, or so we thought. Because fucking hell. So Microsoft have a big appetite for acquisitions, and they were looking upwards. Before we talk about that, King Webb, shout out to you, man. Oh, I need more tunes. But thank you for being a member, bro. I think I've seen you on Twitter. Face, shout out to you as well with a $50 super chat. This guy is rolling in money. He goes, Colt keeps claiming Spider-Man 2, Colt Eastwood, he says, is based on Gen 8 criteria, but Spider-Man 2 also has a huge open world, ray tracing on all modes, performance options, no loading screens, and Xbox guys claim Starfield is next gen, full of loading screens, no ray tracing.
Well, but you're wrong there. The entire game is based on ray tracing. It's all using GI.
I mean, GI is not ray trace GI. It's not ray trace.
What else?
It's RT. Yeah, it's RT.
Is it?
It's RTGI. Yeah.
Yeah, it's RTGI.
They decided they wanted the ray tracing that was going to make,
and that was a big penalty. So they probably had to sacrifice.
And it was worth it. And it was so worth it for the way the game looks. I look, Spider-Man looks polished, looks amazing, and all of that. It looks clean, looks pristine. I actually really like some of the
and to all that I say Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite does RT all the way to 120. It's an Xbox One game, just like Spider-Man is. And
I mean, the implementation of ray tracing there on Halo Infinite is fucking laughable. We can't really compare that to something like Spider-Man. Spider-Man shits all over Halo Infinite. But like,
I mean, it's like quarter resolution reflections, and it's like it's okay, it's fine.
It's a lot more than Halo Infinite, bro.
Good attempt, but
Halo Infinite, bruv. Halo Infinite is not there on that at all, bro.
You gonna fight back?
Halo Infinite, come on, it's not okay. Well, either way, anyway, well, we'll leave agree to disagree on that. It's the beauty is subjective after all. But like,
exactly,
yeah, it's true. So like Spider-Man 2, like Face, you say that, but really, this could easily run on PlayStation 4. We had broken BG last week saying the same thing. This could easily run on the PS4, minus obviously have the instant loading, fast loading and stuff. It's basically the same games, bruv, but I'm not saying those are bad or inconsequential additions. They'll have big impacts on the smoothness of the gameplay, the fast switching. A lot of people compare it to GTA, which is disingenuous. It takes their fucking ages in GTA, where this was, and Forza's done the same thing as well. And I know people in the chat, but it's nothing special. I get it. I didn't think it was that big. I just want to see. It's not. It looks beautiful in so many ways. Interior is definitely lighting, but it's not like blow me away. It's never been like that since the showcase. This last trailer was good. But I think they'll score very well, actually. In terms of gameplay, right? Even though I'm not a fan of that template, the QTEs and stuff, there's not much actual gameplay happening there. And frickin' David Jaffe got it in the neck for saying that. He's so... What is wrong with you people, bro? Like he's just saying the exact same thing we were talking about last week.
He still says it's a great game and that he's gonna play it, but it's Spider-Man. What more else could you do?
It's not even that. It's just that template of like PlayStation games. But Spider-Man is probably the worst culprit if in QTEs and like that Batman combat, which is not as good as Batman in my opinion. I never really found that combat engaging at all. Traversal is really good, but it's just. I don't know, man. But like, even despite its limited template, like appeal of it, like it's quite base. Like I'm not a fan of Assassin's Creed and stuff, so this kind of falls into that category. And I completed the last one. I haven't played Miles Morales, but this one actually is enticing me.
Oh, you should.
And for it to do
Miles
that,
Morales is pretty good.
Miles Morales is pretty good. Yeah.
I had one major qualm in that like I think Sony pushed it to become a separate game instead of the DLC it was intended to be. And there's one part where you kind of do let's say a dungeon crawl, but basically it's an office building and you have to go. They just replicated that 4 times, and I'm like, this is just overstaying its welcome.
Yeah. There's a lot of repetition in there.
Yeah, it's like if they're just not done that game, it's excellent. It really is. Like that part of it, like the new powers and whatnot, the storyline, it was really
storyline.
I'd give that a higher rating than the original 2018. I think it was really, really, really good.
Yeah,
you should definitely check it out.
I definitely need to. That's what I'm saying. My comment on Spider-Man is incomplete because 2018 was my experience, and that's it. So I should definitely try it, and it looks really good. This could be this is looking like an 88, 89 meta, especially with the PlayStation bias. Yeah.
I didn't do nothing. I just beat the main. I didn't do the side missions. I didn't even do the side missions in the first one. I just didn't get into them.
But I did most of it. I did most of that game. I tried to finish most of it, but I think there's some collectibles if I remember right. I don't think I got all the collectibles, but.
Rambling Entertainment with a $5 super chat. So when Xbox closes shop in 2027, where is Gaz moving to? PC, Nintendo, PlayStation, Apple. I'm kind of moving to PC already.
You forgot cloud. I mean, obviously everybody's gonna be on cloud.
Right? Cloud.
So they say. So they say.
I believe in cloud. I believe in cloud.
Microsoft kind of taking a step back from that too. So
I believe in cloud. And I believe in the power of the cloud, because one of the things that was revealed, this is the most exciting part about it, and hardly anyone is talking about it. And I'm I don't know if it's because people are skeptical. I think it is a lot of skepticism about it. But the leaked documents show that Microsoft's next iteration of an Xbox is going to be designed from the ground up to be a hybrid of local hardware and leveraging the power of the cloud, the internet, to just deliver something great. That means that in their mind, they can see their technology because they build their stuff already. They're building it now. they're seeing the next gen, and this is the bit that I'm so hyped about. This is the bit we've talked about this on the show so many times about leveraging cloud. Asa, you've said this so many times that Microsoft should. In fact, you said that Microsoft should leverage its position on cloud to distinguish itself.
That's the main thing, like besides a whole buttload of money, that's the main thing that they have over their competitors is a massive cloud infrastructure that I would like to see them leverage. The old concepts of Crackdown 3, much as it gets laughed at and they didn't deliver, the concepts are what I would like to see that company pushing towards and try and deliver. And Flight Simulator is obviously an interesting example where they are doing good things, but it's only scratching one facet, one part of the potential. Kojima's doing something. The only thing I will say, what we saw of their plans though, their leaks, I look at it because it's the 2028 console iteration and they're really looking like they're going hard into cloud hybrid. So some local processing capacity and a whole load of cloud stuff as well. It's hard to see game development, which would have to be starting like now, be ready for them to go all in on that concept by 2028. So I'm enticed. I'm really curious about the idea, but I also wouldn't underestimate the risk in that plan as well. I want to see them taking some risks, but yeah, see how that one plays out. It's bold if they do it.
And that was from 2020, right? That plan. So since then, do we know if it's going to be the same? Probably not, right?
No, we don't know. We don't know.
I mean,
but that's a big commitment there, and they must have not just gone blind. Like they're in the space on that tech front. So for them to even put that out there. I mean,
they didn't put it out there. That was just a.
I mean, not put it out there internally. Like that.
Technically, they put it out there. Their lawyers did. Not on purpose, but
that's fair. That's fair.
Fucking Microsoft. Everyone thought everyone, including myself, I thought, fucking that's Lena Khan. Lena Khan. Lena Khan. She's losing, so she's gonna be a spiteful bitch. Boom. You see this? They're gonna take over Nintendo, and that's the big one. But sorry.
So would they? If they're going hybrid, would they revert back to their initial plan with Xbox One as a always online box?
Well, you would have to. There's no way around it. It's going to be always online, right? But that's kind of the way it is now.
That is now.
That's kind of the way it is now.
I just some of the stuff they had on Xbox One, I just wish they would have stuck with some of the features and stuff.
Sort your game preservation shit out, but the rest of it, I don't give a shit, man. I want Microsoft. If it fucks them up, it fucks them up. But I want to see them really try.
Games in the cloud.
You need a player like that to make a push like that.
To do that kind of thing. If it was a niche player, fair enough. With the size they're at now, especially with ABK, they can't take that kind of risk. They have to be in the market, then they have to have a solid position. It could be a play, right? We go try this, right? And I like the way they're doing it now. Onesie, twosie games that make sense, we'll go that path and see what we can do with it, right? Let's see what the Kojima game is, right? That's supposed to be like that. Flight Sim made a lot of sense that way. Let's bring in cloud data while we're playing the game natively, right? But I don't know that you'd want to say, we're going to forego the entirety of local processing and say it's going to be 10% here, 90% up there.
Yeah, no.
Because all third parties have to play that game with you, and that's a pain for them, right? So you have to deal with that reality, right? Now they could say it doesn't matter, we have PC, right? We'll just deal with that. But they forego their store, they forego their ecosystem. I don't know that that's a good play. And they've been finding out cloud is costing them more than it's making them, right? And so the question is, do they want to continue that pattern or not, right?
I mean, it doesn't mean that they're excluded because it's a hybrid. So
yeah, exactly. It's cloud for offload, right? Which is I think it's a cool thing, right? And you'll see more and more of it happening, especially for things like AI processing and whatnot. Why not put it out there, right? You're getting such.
The AI going to play a big role in the next system.
The question is, how much does it cost, right? It's always cool to think about, but all of that comes with a cost.
But what is actually costing in this box? Like you have a processor
not
or two?
The box. I'm talking about the cloud.
The cloud?
Right? For you to play something, right? Well, let's say I said, okay,
bring back Xbox Live Gold.
Exactly. It costs you $50 to $100 a month. Would you pay it?
For
to pay
so
for
this is the thing.
compute.
For what? No, but what are we getting?
Compute, that's
cloud.
the thing.
Okay, so this is the thing. This is the big question. What is it actually going to do, bro?
That's the question.
But the question is, the whole reason they would even go for this is because Microsoft believed that by harnessing the power of the cloud, they can deliver results local hardware couldn't dream of doing. That's the whole point. Like
It was
Flight
Stadia's
Sim,
pitch too, but Stadia folded, right?
Stadia folded.
Stadia didn't have no hardware.
Yeah, but this is in
Stadia has
Microsoft's
Google, right?
manifesto,
They have the
and
Google
they're deep
Cloud
in the game.
environment. But
There's also like don't overly conflate what Stadia were doing with what Microsoft were doing, because Stadia were delivering a traditional like this is a game experience over the cloud. They're essentially just streaming a game, and what Microsoft are proposing is more like the Crackdown demo, where they say here's unlimited processing. We're going to do this up here because you could not do this locally. And you're absolutely right though, Hargeet. The commercials, the economics of it are really, really difficult. This is why I don't believe the Crackdown 3 model they showed was ever viable, because I think it was technically viable, but none of us are paying enough to get
cost.
4 servers for our single player game.
yeah, would you pay
So
$300
very
for
much-
that game so you could do that? Right. I mean, but I'm pretty sure Stadia did say that they were going to try games that would leverage cloud compute.
But they
It
didn't
just
try
didn't
anything.
get that far.
but-
Yeah.
And it was going to
Yeah.
be their games, and that's why they had like were they working with Kojima? Somebody
Maybe
was. I think it was
Crater,
them
actually.
working with Kojima. But I think there were a couple of those companies that were working with them, right? And then they let go of the whole thing, right? but yeah, I think that was the plan, was to have like games that could do things that only could be done with cloud compute, which is cool. But again, you have to make the economics work, and I don't know how much you'd have to pay per month to pay for that. Like, putting servers in the cloud, it's an interesting model, and it works as far as you using what you need, but you pay for it. You do pay for it.
And I'm wondering,
there's a
We would
cost
all
per month.
pay for it. We would pay extra 100 if we could. If you said, take me to a town, the new Citadel and Mass Effect, you could have 20 people, or you could have a fucking bustling city with AI conversations happening dynamically between the crowd. Fucking
Which is
take
all
my
possible now,
kidneys, bruv.
but
I will
it's all
freaking pay
cost.
100 quid just for that.
But let
fucking
me put that in
experience.
context for you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Plaza.
I just say the thing goes to what Ace said. I know Microsoft will make sure their first party environment in terms of development be able to develop games like that. But will third party foot the bill for their
That's what I mean
games
about
to
going
do
all
that?
in would be very, very bold. For Microsoft to do local hardware,
Yeah.
but also say, look what we can do with our massive infrastructure. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But for them to say, this is our platform and this is how games work now, that would be hard to see that the world will be ready for
Because
that.
that'll mean
And
different development environments will have to pretty much change, and that's expensive as well.
and with
But
the
you'd
Azure
need to
platform,
see
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say to you, the reason why all of this, however, sounds a bit too fanciful is because of what Asa suggested earlier, which is you do not see hardly anything any developer is talking about in terms of cloud. Like really hardly any big. You got Kojima's mentioning cloud games, looked at skepticism. You would have seen, like you've seen a mass adoption of Unreal Engine 5 and all the developers waxing lyrical about the mocap and this, that. You would have you'd be inundated just like you are with UE5 with these, I don't know what your algorithm is, but you would see a lot more of cloud tech. Here it is. Look what we use with cloud tech. The city is now populated with 100 people, or just mere capacity, or like even like the AI conversational stuff that third party like modders have done with Skyrim. You're not seeing anything. I'm not seeing any developer. Someone mentioned a game like from a notable game that is leveraging cloud. It's not even here. So Microsoft may have been out
fully
of
leveraging
there.
it. You talking about fully leveraging it? Like
Well,
built
that's the only
specifically for it?
reason to commit to that model, that vision, or this hybrid console is because you believe in that. If you, and that is possible, I believe it. I'm not
I
technical
don't
person,
think you
but
need that console to do it. You can do it outside of that, but yeah.
I guess, yeah. I mean, that Microsoft strategy, and this is going to hurt some people, but it's a fact. They're moving away from console. Consoles like
You would have to expect all of them are, right? Because at some
everyone
point,
is really going to end up in this
the
homogeny.
Apple iPhone's going to play games, right? Okay,
Yeah.
maybe this iteration doesn't play them that well. In 10 years, is it going to play them well? Probably, right? Do you need another console after? It's like anyway. So the
Because they're going
point
to be
was
just
make,
as powerful as the systems now.
it will be, right?
Probably even
so
more. Yeah.
If Microsoft's first party were to leverage it, the Azure platform team isn't going to give it to them for free, right? So they still have to pay something, internal funny money, fine, but they still have to pay them something, and that cost is still something that would have to be forwarded to the customer, right? The other headache is like, look, Microsoft is already taking ChatGPT, that capability, and giving it to customers. For those who don't know, it's $30 a month per user for an enterprise to get that. right? That is a very high cost.
I paid
Granted,
for
it
that.
gives you a lot of capability, and it may be very well worth it. But consider, if you want to do that in games, you have to pay that kind of power cost, because they have to pay, make that happen. There's a lot of processing that happens to make that happen, and so they have to pay for it, right? It may not be 30, but you got to think about that. That's got to be
The important thing for all of us, though, really, when you talk about these costs, the important thing is that they don't go against the Xbox division's accountability margin. And then it doesn't matter, we can have our graphs.
You know what?
Ouch.
Yeah. You know what?
The last thing I was gonna say was, if you do ChatGPT for NPCs, you do have a potential headache of what does that ChatGPT do, and does it create any liability for you, right? Because they could have a conversation that could piss off somebody, say the wrong thing, and then how much liability does the game dev have?
You get disclaimers and that, legal disclaimers in games.
Copilot meets Xbox.
We're in the beginning of this. In a few years, it'll hopefully iron out, right? But that is one of the things they'll have to work through, right? But there is that kind of headache to just think about. But yeah, it is very viable that this is in 5 to 10 years, those kind of capabilities will be baked into some games, and maybe that is what like Kojima's working on, right? We don't know what the game is, right? We haven't heard anything, but that was the whole point of, like,
though.
cloud,
We know it's cloud
right?
based.
And it would be kind of cool to have that kind of thing, right? Where it's like, nobody has the same experience, because it literally is, it's being tailored to you as you're playing the game, because a chat GPT equivalent is talking to you directly, right?
I would pay that. I pay for chat GPT, and I would pay for that even on a per game basis, because it's so transformative. Like if it works well, like it's a massive game changer. But I'm excited that was even on their manifesto. Like that was there. But amongst that, there were a few other things as well. Some are calling the death knell of Xbox in 2027. It's like that movie where the Mayans predicted the end of times. But before we do that, let me read the super chat. Sith Lord with the $2 super chat. Thank you, man. He goes, love you guys. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for being awesome, Sith. He's so cool, man. Otarcade, thank you so much for the 569. Titanfall used to use the cloud a lot for the grumps. AI Titans, the combat going through the skybox, when it works, it's seamless. I think the AI grunt seemed a little bit there was just like mobs that didn't really have very good behaviors, and I played a lot of Titanfall. I was max prestige on that. And 2, and it didn't feel that special, I'm not gonna lie. Face 23 Brooklyn, New York, thank you for the $20 super chat, man. And he goes, let's just say GTA 6 is 60 FPS on PS5 Pro and 30 FPS on Series X. Where are you going to play GTA 6 since they're the release a year later on PC? That's a very good point. GTA is too big, man. But then GTA, can you imagine if that happened? If GTA 6, because there is going to be a PlayStation 5 Pro, we know that now, and it's Xbox mid-gen is this. By the way, it looks like a modem. It looks like a fucking bin. It looks kind of shit, bro. What the fuck is that? It looks horrendous. This is how I like this monolithic Xbox Series X. It's beautiful in its design, in my opinion. Then you give me a fucking, what is that? Air purifier. It looks shit. It
looks all right, but I've not met a single person that's interested or excited by it.
I mean, it's like a dot. I mean, in terms of minimalist design, I do like that. I fucking hate PlayStation design. That thing looks like a massive, like, hey, look, this looks like a vagina. Like, what is this? Just stupid. But
and Samara said I look weird.
Kind of like, you know me. But yeah, it's just,
So to that, think about this though, right? The majority console is what? The Series S or X? It's a Series S. Why? Because people really don't care. We keep thinking people care about this stuff. It's a very small percentage that care about that thing. It does not matter. Can it play the games? That's all that matters. And it's up to the consumer, right? A lot of the consumers are choosing PlayStation over Xbox. That's automatically going to make them have more of an install base. That's just the way it is, right? So,
but GTA 60, well, you're going to buy a Pro for that just for one game, but that's a big game.
It doesn't matter.
I'm asking myself,
it is what it is. How many people played 30 frames per second Starfield on an Xbox?
Well, everyone who played at Starfield because they had no choice.
Okay, so it is what it
Whereas-
is. People will play
but
the
that's-
game. It's up to the game. I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think people are sitting here going, I can't believe it's only 30 frames per. I'm not playing this game. Oh my God, I'm going to. This only happens for a very select few people. Most people don't care. They get the game and play.
Bruv,
That's
it's
it.
gonna be
Dude,
a
the Switch
fat
version of
L.
Mortal Kombat will still sell. I'm sorry, but
You're talking about that
That's not the
revision
point.
versus
That's not
the.
the point.
You're
But
talking
it
about the
is
revision.
100%
L.
is the point. It is
You
the
talk-
point. It's an L in your mind. And
You're talking about the revision versus
L
the
console wars.
versus
That's
the
the
PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. The Pro versus the revision that Microsoft is doing. And
Well, the
the
revision
power
Microsoft
difference.
is doing is not really a revision. It's the same Series X, right? Just
You're right. That's why it's just a. I wouldn't call it a refresh. It's just a,
Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's
updated.
I don't give a shit about
It
that.
just doesn't
I
matter.
think Microsoft doubling down on the I guess the 12 teraflops. It hasn't been used.
But
We haven't
AC
seen any.
You were saying you're expecting a mid-gen revision, like an upgrade. This was
I was. I'm surprised by this move, and I do think they're going to have an awkward 3 years or so if this is. Because price-wise, they've already said in their leaked stuff that they're going to be like aiming for about $500, like the Series X is now. PlayStation 5 Pro won't be a whole lot more than that, and they're going to be in an awkward position after promising to never be behind on power and all the rest of it. They're going to be categorically, irrefutably behind on power for 3 years. But
I will say.
And that's what I'm saying.
We'll see.
What do you mean?
look,
We'll see.
I'm just saying. Look, I knew. I said it made no sense to do a mid-gen refresh. We haven't seen anything out of the 12 teraflops we just spent $500 on. We haven't got a game out there first party wise right now that you can honestly say use any tech from the Velocity architect from RDA. Only thing you could probably say is VRS2, ray tracing, but ray tracing ain't even that common on the Series X yet from first party. So we ain't really seen the hardware do nothing.
Yeah, but
so
by the time we do, it's going to be another 3 years because it seems like developers are finally getting their act together, catching up COVID and all the disruption, and that's caused industry-wide a lagging behind on the console tech, whilst the PC thing has gone up, shot up in terms of specs and the things it can accommodate. Path tracing on a card like 4090 or 4080 for a game like Cyberpunk, I don't think people fucking. It's
to actually compare those. I mean, come on. It's a
no. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like the tech is there. The ceiling.
Seriously?
The ceiling has gone up much higher, and developers always
Fair
want.
enough, but that's always been the case. PC always goes ahead.
I know. I'm
right?
just saying in terms of like the PC console market and attention. You're seeing a lot more people now veering towards PCs as well. And I'm seeing a lot more of the core gamers, a lot of Xbox gamers as well.
Well, it's simple.
PlayStation
Sony
gamers.
finally decided to put their games there, right? Once you get both console makers making their games there, the Switch you can pretty much emulate, right? So you get everything in one box.
It's just the
And-
PlayStation, really.
PlayStation had that big of an impact, but I see what you're saying.
You know, but in terms of
Microsoft
some
made the
people
decision,
committing,
was it 2017, 18? Whenever they made the decision that hey, we're going to do everything day and date PC. After that, it kind of opened the idea of okay, I can kind of switch over, and now I don't have to worry about it. I can just
And I can always have better performance and
right.
And
My
be-
same
yeah,
game just
I
keeps
see what you're
working.
saying.
I don't have to upgrade to the next gen. It just comes to me, and I have it. Whatever. And now you have Game Pass, and cool. I get the same game that you get, like whatever, and I can run it whatever res I want. It's just what it is, and like those games also come to PC from Sony, and it's an interesting concept. At this point, it's very hard. Plus, the next generation, they actually gravitate mobile PC. They don't. do
yeah,
console
it's
as
true.
much.
But Microsoft will be. This will be a big, clear example of Phil Spencer being wrong, and promising.
You think he's wrong about not doing the mid-gen refresh?
No, he's wrong when he said that they will never be out of position in both price and power. And this console is going to be out of position on price on its own merits because it's very close to the PS5 Pro and decisively powered. Obviously.
So your assumption is that the PS5 Pro will come in cheap. Why do you think that?
No, it's not that it will come in cheap.
I think
But
he's
it won't be
saying
that much more than the base 500.
I think he's
Unless
saying-
it is Sony, though. It's like Apple. They could come back with
Why they
1,000.
just updated the prices of the series?
That's what I'm
PS5.
saying. Well, on the assumption that they don't, if if they don't take the piss, but this is Sony, they will fucking take the piss. So if you get $1,000, it wouldn't even shock me at this point because it's Sony.
Are you saying if you got the Series X at $499 and they come out with a Pro at $499, and you're looking at the price versus power?
Yeah,
I don't think that's gonna happen.
But either way, they've lost out on power. They said two things. No, they weren't either or. They were price and power. They're out on power. The Series X has not done what it was supposed to. Let's be real. And by the time the PS5,
I will say yes.
By the time it does it, the front Pro's out. No one's gonna give a shit. It's an L. I get it, PC stuff there, but the power narrative, I'll say it again. It's an L, and the Series S X's.
But what were you
I believe, guys. I believe.
Were you expecting twice the performance or something? I guess. What were you expecting?
What are you talking about? This has been like mass consensus. The Xbox Series X is not leaving the PlayStation behind as decisively as everyone said. Everyone.
It was never going to leave it behind. It's like 15% difference, right?
Like, well, apart from Acer, everyone said it. Look, the divide. Well, that's right. What you were saying. But a lot of people were saying that. Nah, the Xbox camp thought that this console would do much better, and it's
but then they'd be wrong,
out on some
right?
fronts,
I mean,
resolution.
It's literally the same bloody architecture. I mean, you couldn't get any closer. It's literally the same thing from both sides with
the power,
a slight bump in power.
You think like the Xbox is faring well?
It's a 3090. It's a 4080 to a 4090. You're not going to get a huge delta.
So you're saying Xbox and PlayStation, in terms of the power narrative, they're faring exactly how they should? You're absolutely okay with it?
Like in the first year-ish, not so much. After that, it's been pretty much about where it should be, a 10-15% delta in performance. But that's
how you even seen 10-15%?
In most cases, you do. It's how it is. They're either exactly the same or there's a slight delta in favor of the X.
In resolution,
it's generally how it goes. Yeah, it's usually what it is.
Yeah,
but I mean, again, you're not going to expect it to be like, oh, this rate at 1440 and that's going to run it like 4K. It's going to be a slight delta higher, 1440 to like
there were talks of like 30 frames deltas and stuff there, and that's.
Well, I mean, like you'd have to have double the CPU. Like they don't have that.
Well, okay.
It's
all
like 3.5 to 3.6.
I don't know. To me, well, maybe you're not in the console war front, so you don't see all the noise.
I don't. Unfortunately, you guys go Twitter back and forth. I don't see any of that.
Yeah. So
PlayStation is the lead platform. So I think from a third party perspective, things like started on the PlayStation and getting ported over to the Xbox. Yeah. Two systems who have two different I/O systems. So in this case, you're probably going to see a slightly better games performing better on the PS5.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like literally, all the developers are prioritizing PlayStation over Xbox.
It get prioritized first.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I mean, ultimately, Microsoft are fucked. Well, unless they can somehow come up with a like. It's flipped. So the 360 gen, Xbox was easier to, despite being this minor pube in the console space, considering PlayStation was such a behemoth that they were making fun of. Ken Kutaragi was saying it's not even a black belt or brown belt in this space when the 360 was about to launch. And the Xbox, being a newcomer in the space, managed to convince most developers to adopt it. They favored that because it's easy to develop. It was just all it was. It was just easy. Now it's easier to. Well, it makes sense, economic sense. PlayStation have got such a big lead. Phil Spencer said that they lost the worst gen for them to lose to, and I believe that. And so now they have to shock the system. They can't just rely on the console power. It would have been nice if they'd done it, and practically this wouldn't be the case in terms of power, in my opinion. But the industry's moving forward. Like people are moving to PC. Like the tech is going crazy.
Well, Mark Sony said that. Mark Sony said,
but the games aren't going well. Mark Sony's done well considering.
Yeah,
but anyway, this is the thing.
Go ahead.
This is the thing. Post up. One of the leaks that suggests you see the email from Phil Spencer that he was nervous the day the PlayStation 5 was about to be unveiled.
Yeah, and I read that.
Yeah, and when it got revealed, he was very happy in that email. And he said, he's very relieved. He even said it out loud, like well, not loud in his email. And he said, "Look, this is a sense of relief. Like this, we're very strong here. We have much more powerful consoles, better Delta and all of that." Microsoft themselves did not know. They did not anticipate this problem. They didn't know. They were caught unawares. They were just like us. They were like, yeah, the power delta is going to be great in internal exactly how we were expecting it.
Well,
So
Mark
they must have been shocked.
Mark Sonny said that the PS4 engine trickulates over to the PS5 to make it easier and quicker for developers to pick up and start developing the engine environment that was being used on the PS4 trickulated right over to the PS5. And he said that would make it easier for developers to pick up and put out games much more quicker in the PlayStation life cycle than previous gens. And you're pretty much in it. You got an engine that you already been using. You just got more CPU power, more GPU power, and then you got a different I/O system. So I mean, it's a pickup where you left off, and here go all these new bags of tricks that you can use. You know, Microsoft, on the other hand, has a GPU that's fully RDNA2 with new features that some of these developers ain't never, well, I won't say never touched, but have to get accustomed to. So it's a learning process on the Series X versus what developers are able to pick up and go on the PS5, I would say.
I mean, we're rehashing old ground, right? But like, look, they chose to change their entire dev kit, and they chose to do it at possibly the worst time in history because we had a pandemic, and that made it very hard to actually do any of the work needed to actually take advantage of that. Fair enough, that all does hit you, and then the realities of what are the larger platforms, and PlayStation is a larger platform. You're gonna spend your time there. They also put the console dev kit out a lot earlier than Microsoft, so they had a chance to actually play with it. It is what it is, right? These are things we're rehashing, but ultimately, if you want to call it an L, go for it. Doesn't matter to me. Most of the games do come out slightly ahead on the X, but again, I didn't expect to like when they said it was 10.3 and 3.5. I'm like, okay, there's not that much there. Yes, you can say the number is 12 versus 10, but again, we're not looking at night and day differences. It's just not that much of a power delta. It's just not. And since they're literally the same CPU, the same GPU, you're not going to see a huge difference, right?
But one thing I will say in the power narrative that's very important is the first parties and how they display the power of these respective consoles.
There you go. That's where it matters.
Yeah,
and
that's
right now, Xbox is not faring well at all.
I agree with that.
It's getting shat on.
It depends on the game, right? So Forza Horizon,
no, I mean, when you got Redfall at 30 L, you got Starfield at 30 L. These are big L. These are serious. Redfall alone just drags the whole thing down.
You hit it on the head with that. First part. That's who's going to have to make this. You can't rely on third party. Third party going to go where the money at. And right now, PlayStation is leading in hardware sales.
But so I think the Xbox first party is going to kill it in the next console, the next few games.
Hellblade 2 finna come out next year.
Starfield looks really good.
Gears 6 is going to look incredible.
I think some of the third parties actually have done a pretty good job. I think some of the third parties have come in and done
I'm not saying that
job on the X.
Xbox has more dents and crosses against it than PlayStation.
And if you want to count a first party, even though it came out much earlier, Doom does it. Doom Eternal does a pretty good job with it. But look, again, it just depends on the studio, right? And it is Bethesda's bread and butter making high performance, high quality graphics games? No, it's just the systems, right? That's their game. Yeah, definitely.
I don't expect that from Bethesda.
It is what it is, right? So we can keep going back and forth on this.
Ultimately, it's good to see some correspondence on this front from Microsoft.
It's good for them to at least you can see some of the things that they expected, and then some of the issues that they also just admit, which is kind of cool too, right? So
absolutely,
especially 2022. that was a pretty good
episode. So how much credence do you think there is to this, Asa? This whole point about Microsoft want this, there's a chart there, and they want to double the size of it, and of subscribers. And if it doesn't happen by 2027, everything comes to an end.
Definitely not the first time that we've spoken about it, because there was that world famous meeting that you did your video on, that Phil Spencer went into the boardroom and spoke to Satya Nadella. They were talking about axing the Xbox division completely, and he convinced them that they should go all in on gaming. And we've never known what picture was painted, like what he promised, what the division is going to look like in this kind of time frame. I think it's very likely that we've seen them falling short on their Game Pass growth targets for a couple of years now. I don't think it's out of the question at all that if they had continued on that trajectory, continued to fail to meet targets, they might have looked at spinning it off. And obviously, as you said earlier, that's not going to happen that soon after spending $70 billion on Activision Blizzard King. So they'll be in a much more difficult, it'll be much harder for them to roll up the division now. Even if they decided that they didn't like games for whatever reason, their shareholders are going to be saying, well, you just spent 70 billion on that, we need a return on that investment, please. So no, they're not leaving anytime soon. I don't think. On the one hand, he's sitting in court with the FTC trying to convince him that Microsoft need APK, and everything that he's going to be saying is like, well, smallest violin, have pity on us. We're going to, like, everything's terrible, we're going to leave. And he didn't even say that it's what they were going to do. He said, if this chart that's from a different team that's not actually our projected numbers were to come to pass, then we would leave.
Yeah.
Because it's just not an encouraging picture. So no, I don't think they're going to leave. They're definitely not with the deal going through. But I don't think it was entirely smooth sailing. I don't think all of Phil's meetings with Satya Nadella over the last 3 years have been happy roses and like have an apple pie or whatever. I don't know what people do in big corporate meetings. I'm assuming they offer each other apple pies if they're doing well, and if they're not doing well, they don't get apple pies. I don't think they've always had the apple pies.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think Microsoft will have had tough conversations with Satya, and the adoption and the numbers dropping and the game issues. And even, I mean, bloody hell, he literally expressly come out and said he was stressed out. Kind of funny with the CMA regulatory bodies like going hard on it, even though Microsoft were pot committed again. This is the biggest acquisition they were doing. So it's not like Satya was like, okay, we're going to walk off from this, because the ramifications of that are huge, but it also puts them in a negative position on their own in other mediums, cloud-based tech or any other industry, if they'd back down. So they had the backing of big corporate cogs behind them as well, because Microsoft will spearhead this break against regulators, this battle that's happening, and they've lost decisively against a giant. Now you might think that's great, for this deal, but there could be a pouring of negativity as a result of that hole that Microsoft smashed through regulators and checks and balances. But ultimately, look, this deal is going to happen, and it's going to be a big deal. Because it's had 20 freaking months or whatever it is, almost 2 years of this going. And I'm editing the source video now, and I'm putting in Blizzard stuff in there and the music and stuff, and I'm like, bro, man, there's so many good stuff, because I've got a folder, Xbox, Activision Blizzard. That's how confident I was 2 years ago. I put it in the subfolder of Xbox, Activision, and then I've got every studio and all the clips from there. And there's so many good games coming out there, potentially. So the conversation will shift. Hopefully, other people will talk about the acquisitions. But I want people to fucking go hard on asking for prototype. I want to see people, like you were saying, you want on a platform, ask for it, demand it. You want to see all the things that people say, oh, it's just going to be a COD machine. You need to freaking be demanded. As Xbox fans, you wanted this deal to happen because of what?
The whole other
IP.
question is whether they continue with the annual COD thing, right? But on that quote, right, look, he was saying that, okay, their projections say they would get to 100 in 2030. And he's like, well, we should be hitting that by 2026, 2027, right? Otherwise, we should just be getting out of the business. That was an offhand comment to say, hey, we should be striving for better. That wasn't intended to be like, we're actually going to do that.
That's how.
Unfortunately, everybody took that as that, except for people who actually read the bloody thing and say, oh, okay, I get what you're saying, right? It's just like, hey, I'm saying, we should be doing better than that, right? So yes, that's our target, but we should strive for better than that.
That's how I looked at it.
But there's too many
put that
people who
type
wanna
of
see it as
pressure.
a
Sometimes you
negative,
need to
right?
put
It's
that pressure on yourself and your team to look.
right.
Take us pressure.
I'm saying.
And we saw from some of the previous years that, like, hey, we want this much growth in Game Pass, right? That's our target, even though it might be ridiculous. But we're going to set a high target. Let's try to get there, right? We won't get there, fine. But if we try for that, we'll get a huge chunk towards it, right? That means we'll have done that much better. And you see,
Shoot for the moon and hit the stars.
Literally, you do moonshots and say, hey, I'm going to try for something crazy. And then if I get half of that, dude, that's freaking awesome, right? So, right, but that's what they should do, right? If you want to get to that level, yes, shoot.
They show plans all the way through 2030. So if you get out in 2030,
I mean, that's a good point, leader, right?
You're absolutely right when you say shoot move for the stars.
Exactly. I want 100 million, right?
In terms of sub numbers, you have to go. Even tech wise, that's the indication to back everything you guys are saying. Like even on the tech, like they were evangelizing their technology vision of hybrid cloud and local compute in the future. Like
right,
they
which
shoot
tells
for the
your leadership team what to shoot for, right? When it comes to what decisions their team should make, it's like, well, this is where we're going, so we should be doing things to make that happen, right? So if
But I still feel like there's
that's what you should be looking for. How do you get?
There'll still be pressure to get those Game Pass numbers higher, and then Phil Spencer's been quite open in saying that the console ones have kind of like stagnated, but the PC
shifting
places
to PC and they're shifting to mobile.
Is
Exactly,
a game
and that's the
service. Is a game service like Game Pass capable of hitting 100 million? I don't,
Yes, 'cause
I don't
Apple
know,
does it.
40, 50 million? Well, Apple, look how many phones. Look at
Yeah.
Look at me. Look at me.
That's why you go to PC.
Look at me.
That's why you go to mobile, right?
Look.
Because those exist, and you have billions of customers at that point.
Exactly.
That's why you do that. That's
My
why
point
you-
is though, even if I don't think I'm gonna still try. Even if I don't think it's
Exactly.
possible, I'm
Because
gonna
remember, they
still
could make
try.
it like they could have it like $5 tier Game Pass Mobile, right?
Yeah.
And they could say, hey, we just have that, and it gives you all these mobile games from us and from curated others, right? And even if they get 10 million of those, it counts towards the numbers, right? If they get 20 million of those, right, it counts towards the numbers. That's all they're looking for. It's subscriptions, right? They didn't say it was Game Pass Ultimate subscriptions. They're saying Game Pass subscriptions. That's what they want to get that mobile store so bad, so that they can start doing exactly that, right? Because then you can go do that, right? The Microsoft Store exists on Windows just to give you Game Pass, essentially, because nobody uses it outside of that, right? It's pretty much just that. Otherwise, you're going to Steam, right? And that's fine. They don't care. That's fine. But they can drive Game Pass growth. That's where they want that mobile store, right? And having like King, having some of the games from Bethesda, their own, going into mobile, that's going to be a big boon. If they can put other curated games in there too, like Apple does, that'll be a good competitor to Apple. Is it Apple Arcade? I think that's
Apple Arcade, which is
Right,
smashing it right now.
Exactly. It's like 150 million or something ridiculous, right? They have a lot of customers, right? But hey, it is what it is, right? So that's what they got to do. So can it hit 100? Yes, 100% it can hit 100. It just they have to go there.
That's why the conversation of moving beyond consoles, the cloud, PC, that's how you get there. Because you're not going to do that just on console alone. I'm sorry. You're going to have to, and that's why you got
Microsoft on this front. It's problems for PlayStation, despite being the market leader.
Oh, they know it. They know it.
I feel like, and today they're giving away a free game with the PlayStation 5. Either that's like they're trying to meet numbers and quotas, or they're pushing their new Slim, or whatever it is. I don't know if that's still going about. So there is pressure, and Microsoft staying in the ABK thing will be a massive cause for concern, irrespective of Jim Ryan's email to his buddy who was like, we've got good things cooking. And it's the same kind of mentality of the happy-go-lucky, like, we can do this, remaining positive. But we'll see. I mean, the deal's happening. Finally, we're going to be stopped talking about it and talk about the games, please. Like Crash and Spyro just being on Xbox exclusive and using this mascots to piss off the ponies. Hi, ponies, I see you in chat. Hit the like button if you enjoy this. 700 plus of you. It's only 200 likes. Even ponies, you can like it if you want. Danny Passion Official, thank you, man. Because Hargeet Cloud Gaming isn't going anywhere. In the near future, to play a game, it will be the same as watching a movie today. Choose the app and hit play.
Yep, looking forward to you dropping your consoles and PC. I'd love to see the day. You can note down to me when you're going to throw away your consoles. I would love to see it. Please put it in chat, in a super chat. I'm going to throw away my consoles on this date. I'm not going to have a PC or a laptop. Let me know when you're doing that.
Yeah, that is.
I'll put my P.O. box in the chat so y'all can send them to me.
Yeah, exactly. You can donate to people who actually want to play games.
Oh, shit.
Totally with you.
Oh, shit. Go and say it. Say it. Danny, tell him. Listen, I will give up. Throw away my consoles. Because about game preservation. Cole Eastwood, thank you for the $20, man. You don't need to. Games matter, not the console. Xbox allows you to play their first-party games for $300 Series S to up to a $4,000 PC. PlayStation does not offer that choice, and that's the reality of it. Like, PlayStation yet doesn't offer that kind of day-and-date experience you get on PC, and that choice. And I think that's more market. Even though I like PlayStation strategy as a fan, I like that they have this focus on their hardware first. But it's outmoded. It seems it's out of date, and the pressure is coming from a competitor to make that, change. But I think it's inevitable anyway. If another player were to step in instead of Microsoft, they'd be pushing for the same kind of homogeneity of devices, and they're just building this environment because that's where everything is. That's the real metaverse. Everything is digital, like marketplaces. So I think it will happen. But this is the current stage. You're right, Colt. I think the console wars, maybe we're a dying breed. I don't know. But I still think it's important. I've always maintained consoles important. Victor Alistine, thank you for the $2 super chat. Digital Foundry thinks Sony subsidizing with a new. Do you think Sony subsidizing with the new PlayStation Plus prices? Oh, I see. Yeah, because the price hike is quite high, so they're offering a game, of which one of them is Returnal. All the big games, I think, but true gamers will pick Returnal. The Liz 22, sorry. I'm 40 and I've been a console gamer most of my life. Got a gaming laptop 5 years ago and just got a Rogue Ally. Seriously considering going PC only next gen. And there's loads of people like that, the Liz. I know people on DMs. When I made that tweet, loads of people DM'd me. Said, hey man, I made the jump for the first time. I built my PC. My friend helped me with the motherboard. I pre-built my PC, someone else saying. And I was just like, there's a lot of people on console. Some PlayStation guys as well. They said, look, I'm on PC now.
No,
it's
their
like,
games
okay.
run better on PC, right? So you get
I think the gaming one, I mean, obviously, the cost is the big one. The cost is huge. So there's a lot of people, if you're playing on a decent PC, you're privileged to be playing on pretty like three.
I mean, as I said, if you bought a Switch and an Xbox and a PS5, you can get a good PC for less than that.
Absolutely.
My PC is really expensive, and it did not make the blue screen of death look any better for the past week.
Oh god, nice. Yeah, that's another quirk of PC gaming no one talks about. We pay so much for these phones every 3 years, but we won't pay $1,000 for a thing. Is weird. Well, it depends on how big a gamer you are. But yeah, like Victor, sorry. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Because Digital Foundry talks about the power delta being really there, but fizzled out because of PlayStation dominance and some other reasons, but said that there's a 30% delta.
That's higher than I expected, but okay, that's cool.
If that's the case, and I think that would be in resolution more than frames. But Face 23 Brooklyn, New York, thank you so much again. He goes, Xbox wouldn't leave gaming, they just go third party. I don't think so. Microsoft's are too big to even care about it. They'd just probably dip out if that was the case. But they're gonna buy PlayStation. Just you wait. Just bring it with a $3 super chat. TS The Elder Scrolls 6 and COD next gen launch will shoot suburbs up. That's the big point as well. We are expecting naturally that when Call of Duty gets on Game Pass, however it's handled, like the next one, the big one, is coming day and day on Game Pass.
What do you guys think about Modern Warfare 3?
Modern Warfare 3 looks kind of basic, man. There's no hype for it.
Game Pass day and date.
I don't think so, because Phil Spencer said that they wouldn't. I think he's confirmed that. He said even if the deal went through, he wouldn't be able to get it on time on Game Pass. He said it will take
some time.
Just a few months, maybe, but that's what he was saying. You just got to sort some things out. It's not as straightforward. So it will come, but not day and date. That's what he said.
That for all games, right? But
no, he's for COD. He specified COD. He was talking about COD only, because they asked him that question. Like, if it gets done, I can put COD.
Game Pass.
Yeah,
it's just going to take a little bit of time. So it's coming to Game Pass. So it's not locked by Sony's marketing deal.
No, yeah, it is.
But if it is,
I think that's what he's suggesting. When is marketing? Is it next year that expires?
It ends with this COD. This is the last one.
I don't know about that, because I seen that it was that Jim Ryan email to Phil Spencer where he was saying that they can forego the marketing in the contracts that they already have in place, when he was trying to get Phil to, put Bethesda games.
Right.
So my question, has that been done?
No, I think the only contract that they signed was to get COD. They didn't.
A 10-year deal. Then the question is, does the 10-year deal start now? If it does it include this? And do they forego the marketing? Because they didn't want to do it. Sony didn't want to do it. right? They're like, why would we pay for marketing if you guys own it? That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But then again, they did it with Deathloop. They did it with Ghostwire. They continued those patterns. They went ahead and marketed it, right? So I don't know. This is an interesting question, right? Do they want to? I'm sure those were much cheaper than COD. I'm sure COD costs
now
a
you
lot
pretty
for
much
marketing.
Microsoft for COD.
I don't even think Modern Warfare 3 is being marketed at all. I feel like they're just shitting this out.
It's probably been waiting for this, right? It's been like, what is the status? And that's why I'm curious. I wonder if it really does just fall back. As part of the 10-year deal, it falls back to Microsoft. If Microsoft markets it, Microsoft can then, if they want to push it, say, no, we want it day and date. I don't, we have a month and a half. Go figure it out. Like, make it happen.
Maybe. Right, so, I don't know. But that'll be big. But I think the next one, but the expectation is when that does happen. Although I feel like they should be preceded by some marketing on the Game Pass front, because you want this to be effective. To lead up to it, you want to tell the masses, COD, get it for free on Game Pass. Free. For
console, by the way, I don't think it'll happen for PC immediately.
Not actually free,
because of the headaches of getting it into the Microsoft Store, right? But
I guess we'll find out at the town hall, because I know they're going to do a town hall like this.
This will be a very interesting one, right?
We're going to find out.
I don't think this COD will make it. I think it'll be.
I don't think it's going to make it either.
I don't think so. To me, it's like we're talking about it. I'm just hypothetically, but to me, it's not going to happen at all. It's going to be the next COD. But that's the one though. You'll see significant more marketing from Xbox. Again, contracts notwithstanding. But
3 will get added at some point, but I don't think it's going to be there during launch or anything like that.
I don't think so at all. I'm pretty sure I read the thing that basically said that from Phil Spencer, but I don't remember what it was. Lord Meyerhoof, thank you for the IDR 20 trillion. What the fuck? I don't know what that is. Indian rupees.
Indonesian. No, Indonesian.
No, Indian rupees is 20,000 is a lot. It's like $200 quid. Indonesian rupees.
Indonesian, yeah.
Shout out to you, bro.
INR would be Indian.
Yo, I got people from Indonesia type it. That's sick.
That's fire.
Yo, shout out to the Indonesian brothers. Like D12? Yeah. Love D12. Don't even lie. Lord Mayo, I don't know why I'm swearing at you. Hello, Gaz. The king of ponies and Xbox sucks. What? I gave you all this introduction. I looked at your money, then I didn't look at the fucking mess. You fucking.
He brought the sauce.
Thanks for that. Yeah, shit. So one of the big things was Phil Spencer said that in this internal email. This is the crazy part. He said. Nintendo. Phil Spencer wants to buy Nintendo. Phil Spencer sent that email saying that, despite the fact that it's not really going to happen because they have a fat cash reserve. What were they even thinking? Why was he mentioning Nintendo like that? He sees that vision that they need to. Is that possible?
He was asked when they're buying Nintendo, and he politely explained the reasons why they're not going to buy Nintendo to somebody that was a little more. Yeah, exactly. A little more tenacious on the whole concept and prospect of it. He basically was just saying, like, there's Nintendo, and obviously we'd love to buy them. Everyone would love to buy Nintendo. It's not going to happen. The most endearing part of it was he explained, and within the reasoning, he said that Nintendo have a board of directors that aren't particularly caught up on pursuing growth. So all of this stuff that Microsoft are doing to push into PC and mobile and all the rest of it, because they must get bigger, they've got a capitalism, they've got to do it. The Nintendo's board of directors are like, we want to make fun games. And that apparently, according to the head of Microsoft, is sincere. Nintendo just want to give people fun. And that's like, okay, I like Nintendo now. I wish they would make a good console.
I love it.
But you just got to love that these people still exist in the world. Yeah, go on, Hargeet. What were your thoughts when you saw the email?
I love the fact that that's all they want to do. Like, yes. Shouldn't that be like the mission statement of a game developer? Is like, we just want to make fun games and deliver them. And boy, do they deliver them. They have like the top grossing games, period, right? They always sell their games in ridiculous numbers. And they have like the top rated games when it comes to their top franchises. They're ridiculously well rated. It's so good. And now at some point, just realities will hit that the people that did all that are going to retire or go away, and at some point those games will probably take a dip in quality, right? That's gonna happen, and then we'll see what happens to Nintendo. But for now, the hell with that. Nintendo, keep doing Nintendo. I love it.
And that's why we love getting absolutely molested by Nintendo, because they are
so good, dude.
They are.
wait for
That is
Mario.
incredible. That is incredible. Of all the studios, all the execs, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, decisively, gamers first. Not just bullshit and slogans from both of them.
Yep.
Who try to go DVDs and music players and all of this shit and become
it's
everything.
Not only just like gamers first, it's like gameplay first, right? Their games have to be gameplay, and they're literally the polar opposite of the I hit X now, I hit triangle now, right? It's you are playing the game. That's it. You are the game. It's not cutscenes.
Gameplay over graphics. They don't care about
gameplay.
graphics or resolution.
It's all about gameplay. I love it.
They don't care about none of it.
Are you now like are you a fan of Nintendo? Like
I say, I still want them to actually release something that I can use on my TV. I don't play on any portable device, so the Switch is still like deeply disappointing. But for years, they've had good games on it that I've been like, I want to play like the Xenoblade games. I want to play Astral Chain. I want to play this. I want to play that. They've got loads of games on that console. I've just been kind of waiting for them to release a more TV-suited console for me to do it. But then you hear this and it's like, nah, protect Nintendo at all costs. And the email also says, one feels like saying, well, there's this venture capitalist friend who's trying to corrupt them from the inside. So maybe if we're patient, no, get that guy out now. Protect Nintendo at all costs.
That was crazy. That was crazy, by the way. They got someone like whispering in their ears.
We're gonna play the long game. We're gonna sit here and wait. Something gonna happen.
What ASO wants, right, is a better console, and hopefully this next console, just by the simple fact of like, power just keeps increasing, that it'll be good enough to play the AAA games. Hopefully it will get there, right? And we've seen some of the renders of 4K version of like Ocarina of Time and stuff like that. And it looks so phenomenal, right? And it would be awesome if they could do that and their developers get a chance to take advantage of that hardware. We'll see what they do with the next Switch, or whatever they're going to call it.
Didn't Nintendo try that? So, and the developers didn't like it. And they said that, 4K, trying to create 4K games was just
it's going to take
tedious.
More time.
Yeah.
It's going to take more time. It's a lot of headache, right? But
that's what they said. They tried it and they're like, nah, too costly and too tedious.
By the way, I will never miss Superchats again, because YouTube's got this fucking feature. You could just type drop down menu. It says fan funding, so I can just read the Superchats and never miss chat. Do you know how fucking annoying it was? The copy and pasting the chat and onto Word.
Now, right?
God, and then copy the chat and wouldn't do it right. It's terrible. But I can do it now. Shout out to Top Shot over the $10 super chat. People forgot that it was ABK that taught Bungie how to do live service games, and when Bungie couldn't keep up, they got rid of Bungie. Maybe ABK alone can buy Sega and Square Enix together by itself.
There's a lot of facts that they have a lot of cash on hand that suddenly show up in Phil's bank account there. So
that's true, man. Those numbers are going to look nice. Especially the King, they're going to be keeping a key. They don't give a fuck about everything else. Well, they do, but they're going to look at the mobile column very sternly. In the disclosure and the Bethesda ZeniMax acquisition, Phil Spencer says that, like, he highlights, like, but these are core studios delivering these games as very limited cloud and mobile growth, and I was like, oh, okay. Boston. But yeah, you're right, but that was at the forefront of their focus. But it also shows that a lot of people are saying like, oh, they're just going for mobile, these consolidation. They went for Bethesda ZeniMax knowing that it had no real mobile appeal. They went for that. Why? Because it's core gaming experiences. And look at this slate of games. It goes contrary to the bullshit narrative against Game Pass being whatever, dumbing down, crap hollow experiences. Yeah, you may have your Redfall, but then you get Starfield, then you get Avowed, another RPG. How many Western RPGs? Fable, you get a whole like raft of games just from ZeniMax alone. All these are RPGs. It's like that purchase was then pursued because it was principally for the core gamer, whereas with ABK, the mobile front is the primary driver there. Alvin, thank you so much. He goes, with the $5, is Nintendo didn't care about money. They make a competent console and take a hit on the hardware to get a better experience to their customers, in my opinion. Well, Alvin, they're not. That's a good point. Like, it's all a question of degrees. They do want to make money as well. It's not about money. Every company cares about money. Nintendo care about money. but they are the ones that are striking the biggest balance here in favor of gamers. That means their business model is predicated on the notion that we will keep delivering great gaming experiences like no one else can. We'll deliver the quality and innovate as well and take risks because that's our business model. So there's a sense of pride with that as well. And they're maintaining that, and everything is showing that they're the ones that take the risks.
And
but
with
yeah,
that,
they also
chart
make money.
That Colt put out, I don't know whoever it was that Colt had put in a tweet. I can't remember the person who actually made it. Whatever. The profit of Nintendo was, I think, about the same as Microsoft and Sony combined.
Yeah. So that chart that Tweaked Out shared, like they're making more profit than even a reduced
Xbox
revenue.
and PlayStation combined. It's
Yeah, and I'm not surprised at all. Look at how they switch sells, like the game sell, the prices that they sell, and the volume that they sell. They are great. We complain and bitch and all of that shit, but we know their games are incredible. So I'm so glad Nintendo exists. If Nintendo didn't exist in this space, gaming would be shit. Lord Meyerhoof, thank you so much for the internet. Oh, you're the. I just remembered that. Now I just remembered from the currency. Seriously, if anybody's in the gaming industry wants to buy, of course it's Nintendo. It's the most profitable in the industry. Phil's email is a what if scenario. Yeah, absolutely it is. Alvin with the $2 super chat. I like Nintendo, by the way. They want the dollars. But they want the dollars. Absolutely they do. And that's why they don't reduce costs and prices. Anything. They're squeezing all of that. But in the space, I'm grateful for them existing. Nintendo and the Otaku with a $5 super chat. If Zelda team got a hold of a console within 25% of the Series S, it's over. They were running circles around everyone with a handicap on the Switch. He's right.
And that next console will be pretty close to that.
I hope so.
Close to that.
I hope so.
Do the Nintendo fan base really care though?
Yeah, they will. They will. Everyone cares. If you want, look, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom looks nice, but if it looks beautiful, and they said that they're gonna, this is the formula they have for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is what Zelda's gonna use going forward. That's a big thing to say, that they're committed to this formula. But the next one, if they send another game, even though mechanically it's as brilliant with its puzzles and new mechanics, I don't think there'll be a massive like jaded feeling unless it's supplemented by something that represents more of an upgrade than trying to withstand a 10-minute presentation on how unique this puzzle mechanic is. It has to look good. So I think it really does. I think there's a long way.
I think the thing that's better about that is there's a whole bunch of players who won't play those games because they don't have higher graphic fidelity or run at higher frame rates.
Yeah, loads
of
people
folks would finally give it a chance, right? You're right that most of the players that are going to play Nintendo games, they're ready to play the Nintendo game. It doesn't matter, right? Yeah. But they would add another like 30-40% of players that forego Nintendo because they're on a lower end console.
Will they be affected by the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally?
I think
all
there's a lot
these PC handheld, would that push them to kind of beef up their specs to be more competitive? Because
it's a good question.
Nvidia will, right? Because Nvidia gets a chance to answer, right? All those other ones you're talking about are all, including the consoles, all AMD, right? And Nvidia gets a chance to say, we can do this too. And so they're going to push as much power as they can, DLSS the heck out of it, right? So we're going to see something interesting here. It's a NVIDIA CPU and GPU.
But it won't just be technical, because Nintendo, this is what makes Nintendo Nintendo. They'll come up with a gimmick or something. It's like, okay.
Maybe they will, but I think the power-wise, I think NVIDIA, they're looking to say, hey, we can play in this area too. Right?
Well, that'd be great. That'd be lovely. That'd be incredible. I hope so. Because the pressure is on. That's a good point from all these other devices. So the power pressure is on. And also, still, Nintendo has that pressure internally about being unique in this space.
I mean, if they don't do anything, right? Intel's chomping at the bits here. With Intel Arc, they're not sitting around either. So they're starting to create something that could be leveraged as well.
What, a mobile device?
For console level things, for anything. So their graphics cards are not going away. So now they will be in consideration for any one of these consoles, right?
Yeah, we talked about this
Nvidia
before.
has to say, yo, we got to get in this because we don't want to be left out. We want to be part of this, gaming scene when it comes to not just the PC graphics card. We need to start looking at these other devices because, like everybody knows, devices are going to take. That's just the way it is, right? So they need to kind of get into it. So.
Absolutely, all of that will play a factor into conversations they're going to be having with Nintendo and whatnot. That'll be incredible.
Like Nvidia have been fairly off of consoles because the margins just weren't worth it for them, and at the moment they are making big money in the AI space. So I don't think they necessarily need to look at consumer devices at all, at least short term, because they are a valuable company right now.
Yeah,
that's fair. However, they are in the Switch. Right, so when anybody compares the power and they look at the Switch and they say, "Well, that's Nvidia," right? Do you really want that as your image? So it's just something they have to think about, right? So I think they're pushing. You can see all their software tech that they're trying to put out there. They're pushing to see the Switch use it all, right? So they had that Matrix demo running on it for a reason, right?
Well, that'd be incredible. That'd be incredible. We also found out Warner Brothers, there was a lot of murmurs around the time before about Warner Brothers happening, and the leaks showed that they're pretty much very advanced in negotiations there, but there were some problems with the IPs, IP retention. What was that about? What do you mean? Like they'd get the studio, but they wouldn't get the
Warner
IPs
Brothers gaming division don't own Batman and all the rest of it, which is what we said ages ago when the rumors were going around. It takes a lot of the value out of it if they can't get these characters.
Yeah. So Phil say it'll hurt them over the long term. You ban all these developers with no IP that comes with them. My perspective is even still, if you don't get the IP with what you got with Activision, Bethesda, and Xbox Game Studio, all the IPs you have a plethora of developers teams that can help you push games out the door a lot quicker. You have a group of developers you can bring on and sort of act as that team that Sony got to help with art and help all the studios out to with their development. Get some of them developments to come in to speed up the process of getting these games out the door and filtering into Game Pass.
To a point, but that ABK happened after that, right? So, but there is still potential to either license, or the more realistic option is to somehow buy those licenses along with it, right? So either buy DC, buy Warner, but like the thing is, if you buy Warner Discovery, you bring a lot of headache with it, right? Because they have television station stuff and all that crap, and there's a lot of regulatory stuff that goes into it. And Microsoft did this before, and they walked away. They were like, this is not something we want to play with, right? So if you instead structure it where it's just like the studios that make movies and TV stuff, right, but they don't get into the TV part of it, it's possible that might be something they'd be interested in, right? So they would own most of the IP, but they would let Discovery keep all the other stuff. Why would that happen is the question, right? And the reason is that to create WBD, they had to take on the debt that AT&T took to buy Warner to begin with, and that debt is hampering them from doing anything because
it's like 150 billion or something, like 150 million.
It's not that high. I think it's in like the 50-60 range, something like that, right? So it's a huge amount of money, and what they were hoping was that people would invest when it goes to the market. That didn't really happen. On top of that, the movies are all flopping, except thankfully they had Barbie, which did well, right? And then they had Hogwarts, which did well.
We're talking about this. Can I just get something off my chest? What the fuck is wrong with the world that Blade Runner 2049, one of the best movies ever made, is a commercial flop? You fucking Barbie gets to break records.
I will never understand the Barbie thing. I will never understand the Barbie thing. That's just me, though. I just.
It may not be for us, and that's the thing you have to recognize, right?
No, but you have to recognize humanity is stupid when they have no creative bone in their body. That when Barbie outsells, I know there are other factors, marketing, blah blah blah.
I'm sure you can
Blade Runner, the original, was a cult classic, didn't sell anything.
Yeah, I'm not gonna justify their the movie, or I don't care. It did well, right? And thankfully for them, it did well. It was an offset for all the other failures, right? So
fuck
it is what
Bobby.
it is, right? But they have to look at that and say, well, how are they going to keep making money? It's tough for them to even invest in anything because they have all this debt already, right? So this has been a problem for them, and that would be a reason to look at it, as to say, how can we offset that such that we can continue to make something, right? Microsoft's money helps them make movies. That would be awesome, right? They can actually go and start making something, but it also takes away a lot of the debt, right? So,
but then Discovery they was going to, at one point they was going to sell the gaming division, but then they pulled it off the table to figure out what they was going to do.
It's because,
by the way, I've never seen chat so freaking toxic. You guys are shitting on each other. I could have just watched this go on fucking like the spectacle there. Guys are crazy. I like it.
What is going on?
I love it. Go fucking kill each other.
Okay. Sorry, what were you saying? Stuff I totally
sorry.
No, I was saying, did Discovery? I know they was at one point pushing to sell the gaming division in terms of Warner Brothers, but then they pulled back.
That was before they even started the whole Warner Brothers Discovery thing, right? So AT&T was looking to offload, and at that point they were talking about it, right? And and that sort of fell apart. Why, I don't know, right? I don't know what the internal, but probably the IP, right? And what it would take to create a licensing agreement. I'm sure what AT&T was looking for was, can we use the licensing to get massive amounts of money to offload our debt, right? So something like 10, 15, 20 billion dollars. Well, that's realistic. That's just kind of an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was going to fly, right? So that's kind of the headache, right? If it's a realistic amount, let's say you spend 5 billion and you can get a lot of their IP for 10 years. Okay, that's realistic. You could do that. But, as far as spending much more, and again, AT&T was looking to offload debt. That was their point, right? And that wasn't working out. So that was the headache for them.
So is Discovery looking to push the gaming division, or?
We don't know. I would expect so, right? Because they're still in the same jeopardy. I would expect they are.
Because they took on that debt, right?
If their games started doing well, which they didn't, right? So Hogwarts was the exception. I don't think Gotham Knights brought in a lot of money. So I think that wasn't as good as they wanted.
That's in Game Pass now.
We got Suicide Squad, which, I mean,
they had to pull that back. They had to
I'll just leave it at that. And then,
Xbox is the best box, Jamie Smith, easily.
And
you think I would
movies have
hesitate
been
to
flopping. Even DC, movies have been flopping, right? And that's not good for them, right? Yeah, they needed the revenue. It just didn't happen. And thank God they had Barbie actually kind of offset some of that. Whether you like the movie or not, I don't care. It's just as far as fiscally, that's been helping them. But Hogwarts was a major success for them. That was awesome. And then and Barbie, right? So, but again, it's still questionable going on year and year and year. How do they do that? You can see what they're doing. They're pulling things away from HBO. They're pulling things away from making movies. They're canceling stuff. It just is what it is. And if they want to change that, they need to have an influx of cash, and this is a good way to do that. So we'll see, right? There's other potential options.
Fuck all of that. Get Crystal Dynamics. Crystal Dynamics.
But I 100% agree with you, because that would be a huge expenditure, which would have to go to regulatory approval, right?
Yeah.
As far as CD, I'm hoping they can pull something off where they can just get it under the radar. Right, so if it's both of them, I think it goes above the threshold of 100 million. So yes, I would love both of those, because they're both working on Microsoft games right now. So why not just
just grab both of them?
It needs to happen.
Just grab both of them.
It, right?
I'm such a dick. I'm like being such a dick, and then Isla's in the chat moderating. She goes like, "Please don't encourage them, Gaz," and I'm like, I'm just about to reveal the message, and it says Isla's automatically held the message. So my decision was to let it go.
I'm saying,
What do
you better do something. Sony did already purchased a couple of your support studios. I could see Sony making a move to purchase Crystal Dynamics just to be on.
They could.
Yeah.
So I mean, to structure it, I can't tell Microsoft what to do, but I would say buy the studios for under the 100, right? And then license out the IP, like Tomb Raider, all that stuff, right? License the IP for like 5 years or something, and then say with an option to buy at the end of that, right? Something along those lines, right? That way you don't have to spend over the the 100 million. Just buy the studio. 100% should buy the studios. Asobo will be another one. It's a pretty cheap studio. It's under 100. Buy it. Just get it. I don't know why they aren't. They're already working on it.
It's because of this. I think they'll be. Well, I think once it's done, You might actually get a couple of
I hope so. I'm
little
looking for
bombs
like 5
dropping
or
here
6
and there.
smaller things. Just go.
Not Embracer. Fucking what am I talking about? Crystal Dynamics and Asobo. You can see that. This has to go through. There's no way they would never be advised to go and buy these now.
God, I can't wait for this to be done.
Oh, it's almost there. It's almost there. It'll be October or something, mid-October.
Yeah, they have till October 6th. People can put in whatever they want to say about it, and then they'll have to write up afterwards, right? So they have to go through any responses and then write out a final. Probably another week after that.
Holy matrimony, please stand up now, and then we'll be fucking Jim Ryan with carpet burns on his knees.
Say about a week or two after the 6th. A week or two after
third
the
week
6th,
of October, right before the deadline. This will be final.
It'll be done.
Do you think Sony would object or put an objection?
At this point, why bother wasting them?
They didn't spend too much money trying to block something that they didn't.
All the
cost work. It's not going to change anything,
Ryan.
right? The console theory of harm was dismissed a long time ago. I don't see the point, right?
Yeah, no, there's no point. Nothing's going to happen.
Now?
It's just cloud.
Like,
yeah,
at this point, the cloud problem's gone. They're welcome to make any agreement with Ubisoft they want to. Have fun, right?
Yeah.
So I just don't see anything left, right? So if somebody wants to put in whatever, they put in whatever. It just comes into however many responses they get. They have to compile that, make their final recommendation, which is just going to take a little bit of time, just normal work, right? So it might be that following week. It might be the week after, right? So right before the deadline, they just release the final report. So yeah.
Yeah, it's going to go quick. It's going to go quick now.
Because UK government's corrupt as hell, not counting my chickens yet. Nah, man, UK government being so malleable is the reason why this actually happened in the first place, and why the CMA is now approving it provisionally. Yes,
they got what they wanted. They
wanted.
already approved it. They got what they wanted.
The government put that pressure. Yeah, of course it did. They said, look, the whole world has approved it, and we are desperate for foreign direct investment, especially with our aspirations. We have 5 billion that's going to be wiped out in investment if you lone wolf against Microsoft. You're just stopping up any trade for not centuries but decades, until successive governments, I guess. But it's like still like you have to put into law changes into the regulatory thing that are there. You have to be seen to be playing fair, introducing legislation that's pro-regulation, but at the same time you have to feed the country, man, and that.
I'm just waiting on the movie. I'm just waiting on the movie about this whole situation.
I'm sure there's going to be a documentary on it. And it's going to feature Hargeet writing that letter for about 15 minutes.
What's his name? The one you hate, Foss Patton's. The one that you had.
Oh my god! Okay. So it's going to be a survival horror movie.
He's gonna write a book about it.
It's Mueller.
To be fair, there are 2 countries left, but one of them is Canada. But it doesn't matter; they're past their deadline, so whatever, they can keep doing whatever they want. And then Australia will likely follow suit with whatever the CMA has just done. So I would expect that in the next week or two that they're going to say, yeah, we're all set too.
Yeah,
but
I think, it's finally going to happen. Someone with a Chinese or Japanese name, I think, with Yen 200. I hope Bandai is on the Japanese list. Bandai.
It was the only Japanese publisher that was not on the list was Capcom.
You know what's crazy though?
I'm sorry, but that's just a fact. We saw all the documents. The only one that was not on the list was Capcom.
You know what's crazy?
You're not allowed Capcom. I will riot.
You know what's crazy though? You know, France was one of the countries that had an issue with this deal, right?
Yeah.
They was along with the CMA in terms of pushing back on this deal. I don't think a lot of people knew, but France was one of them countries that had an issue with this deal. But it so happened that Ubisoft, which is
I know
getting the cloud rights. No.
And on top of that, France doesn't get to say crap because they're part of the EU. And
thank you.
That's the DC gets to decide.
Yeah, but for all of the pushback, we're going to take care of you. Ubisoft, come get these cloud rights so the regulators over your country can sit down and let us get this deal pushed.
I still think that's so crazy. Well, Can we all agree that UK was needed for this deal to go through? Because that concession is gigantic, and that's an evidence of that. The UK did not do what I've been arguing with your Muellers and whatnot about that. You cannot circumvent the process. You're a signatory to this. We had Luke Steele tell you this, and we were saying that, and still said the deal's going to go through, despite the fucking day they blocked it. I'm on Twitter saying with the little Fast and Furious meme, it will go through. You think I did that as
knew it was going to go through. We just knew it was going to take some time. It was going to go through rigmarole.
It was not good. Can we talk about it? No, but this wasn't even Microsoft were flaky on it, but they did this incredibly. I'm sorry, all the marketing campaign, all the Lulu Shangs and all of this shit, even the Post Patton. Like, he's paid. He's on their payroll. He's doing it. But say what you want.
On their payroll,
bruv. He was the only. He's been paid by them, and it's been the only pundit in the Google Oracle case. Of course, he's paid by them. He's there doing the propaganda. That's the guy. You don't. This is my issue with it. But he got it done. Like he did his job for Microsoft, and like everyone played this very well, from their lawyers to fashioning the negotiations with the CMA, getting Ubisoft involved.
Are you sure? Because that might, I don't know, whatever. I'm not going to get into it. I don't know if he is paid or not. I'm not going to make that claim.
He's definitely not interested because he likes the games. I'll tell you that much.
I will point out something that was interesting, and I think Asa, you pointed this out, is that they did a thorough review. One thing we didn't have access to got leaked, which is, well, I don't know about that. Anyways, but is that they were looking at a Windows cloud, right? They were looking at a Windows cloud and leverage Azure servers.
Yeah, you got it.
And that is a problem, right? So once you start saying it's not the Xbox blades or whatever that they're putting into the cloud themselves, if you're leveraging Windows and you're leveraging Azure, it's a totally different game for cloud service. It's a totally different game, right? So there is a potential where they were right. They should be concerned if it's Microsoft saying, hey, we're going to leverage PC and we're going to use PC cloud, and that's how we're going to deliver games. And if that's the case, they have a huge advantage when it comes to their own OS on their own cloud.
That's why it was good for them to. That's why it was good for them to put the Xboxes in the cloud and not just strictly depend on Azure. That kind of saved them. That kind of saved them. But I think one of the real stories of this is going to be Beth Wilkerson, the lead lawyer on this case, who knew nothing about gaming, nothing. Prior to the FTC case, she knew, and she did her research and went in that courtroom and to the FTC.
It was so well for her until she leaked all of that stuff the other day. Imagine if that was her.
Crazy.
I'm not saying it was.
It probably was somebody in their team, right? But man,
for her to not know anything about the industry, in the short amount of time, what she say, about 10 days? They had 10 days to get prepared or something like that. It was a real short time, and for her to accumulate that much knowledge and go in there.
To be fair, though, she only had to argue with the FTC, who also know nothing about the industry. So it was fair. It was a fair fight.
The lawyer for the Queen, that was it ABK had hired, right?
Yeah.
That guy also had a very short amount of time and already had his shit together. It was a pretty impressive display.
Yeah, you talking about the beard guy. Yeah.
Bro, they got the fucking Roy.
Dude, that guy was crazy. Like,
there's 70 billion on the table, and you think the biggest corporation in the world, you don't know what kind of resources they have. It all. They have the best.
If you get paid $5,000 an hour, you'll learn whatever you need to learn.
Bro, they had it all, and it's still, bro. They literally just pincered out, like murked this is a big battle between regulatory bodies and a corporation, and then they fucking dismantled them. I was watching news coverage on it, and they were talking about it from the angle of what it means for the industry and regulatories, because the regulatory bodies were jostling for power beyond gaming for a long time.
And about to change.
All the songs and
change.
big changes. Everyone was reporting on it. It was like, this is, in the finance, obviously, channels and the segments talking about this quite a lot. So it's quite interesting. Microsoft as a whole also leaked that they, on AWS, or the cloud services, they're behind Google by quite a bit. And they were quite surprised at how little
the market was surprised about that.
Pretty significant. Everyone thought Microsoft was just behind Google, but they're significantly behind.
The assumption was that they was ahead or at least competitive, but when that information leaked, I don't know what type of impact that will have on them. But
it showed they were behind Google and Amazon. Wow.
Yeah, bro. Well,
I think Amazon leading right now. I think
Amazon should definitely be leading, but.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Google. I think it was Amazon.
Amazon.
It was Amazon that absolutely smashed Microsoft out. That's done major damage.
Amazon,
major damage to
Xbox, right, with AWS, but and so they are revenue-wise way ahead. They are growing in data centers. I think they're close enough now. Azure had more data centers. I think Google actually has a lot of data centers. Why? Because they have the search engine everybody on the planet uses, right? So they have data centers everywhere to give you that search. Microsoft needed data centers to give you Office, right? And Office is literally everywhere as well. But yeah, as far as the revenue generated, Azure is behind Amazon. I don't know if it's Google though. I would expect Google.
I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But it's quite interesting. Like that's
not news to me. Like everybody in the industry knows that Amazon is ahead.
Yeah, but I think people was shocked at how much ahead. It was very high. So investors are rethinking things, but still Microsoft is doing very well, especially in the AI front. So yeah, you're going to see some major memes there anyway. And the gaming is now their fourth largest income generator or revenue generator. Fourth largest, and that's big. That's significant. Gaming for Microsoft.
Gaming, yeah, it's getting pretty big.
That's big now. That's huge, man. Fourth largest gaming. Big.
I think with ABK they become bigger than Windows, don't they? I
don't know. That would be crazy to me. Moisenbeg says, Hargeet Salam Pochna in Punjabi. How you doing, man? Sparty66, that is in Punjabi, says, yes. Give my highs to Hargeet. There's Spartan 661. There's no
Gaz and me, right? So
yeah. Oh, it's us. Shout out to you.
Well,
man.
I see Gaz. Okay, yeah.
There's no sense in arguing with ponies because that horse and buggy is in the patch riding off a cliff. Evolution of gaming is on the horizon. Ponies. What are you gonna say to Spartan with that super chat? He's saying that's it. So I'm not saying it. He said it. You're not evolving. PlayStation's gonna die. Chat, you can take that. Lord Meyerhoof with the what are you saying now? I hope Larian released BG3 on Xbox on the 20th of October. Oh yeah, that's going to be coming out soon. I reckon.
That's an interesting day to do it.
On the Spiderman day.
I don't think they're gonna put it.
I don't think I don't think it.
Then again, get pushed back to avoid Spider-Man. One of them games got pushed back.
I mean, you want to stay clear of that, and that's going to get
innovation thing, right? So, do you think the VR push? I mean, you've been behind that, Gaz, right? Asa, obviously, you were definitely behind VR, but do you think VR2 was a mistake? Was that the wrong thing to go?
I admire PlayStation 4 post of what you said, bro.
I'm thinking it's Hargeet. He trying to go there. that's Asa thing. Asa on VR.
That's a good question. I think I admire
asking the right people because, Asa, you have been a proponent of it, and Gaz, you have been behind it. You think it's a good idea, right? And I'm like, well, hey, that is an expense that they took. Is it the right one?
It's a good idea. I would, as a gamer, always back VR. But I don't think it's successful. I think Sony
tried it yet.
It's very early, but I still feel like there's no noise. There's this thing is gonna die, as in share the same fate as the PSVR 1, which I don't really want. I really want to see a good game from them.
They did announce a game in the latest showcase, right? One, maybe two.
I'm talking about games that we would actually know.
Was there something else?
He's talking about that It title. He's talking about that It title. It doesn't have that VR2 doesn't have that It title yet.
And I think that's what needs to penetrate there. And you might say, well, they'll never get that id title. Then I don't think it will ever be what it needs to be on the console space. So I think
so what do you
PlayStation VR. But I would genuinely, bot and all, I would be happy to be proven wrong by Sony on the PSVR front. I would love them to say, yeah, guys, shut the fuck up and buy this headset because it's this game. And I'll be like, you know what? Damn it. I'll buy it. And I'm happy inside. Do you know why? Because someone actually pushed VR. I think the console space is so important in pushing it to the mainstream. I know the PC space is good and healthy, maybe. Asa.
So for clarity, that's why I said earlier that Xbox are not allowed to buy Capcom. At the moment, Capcom are carrying the weight of PSVR2. All of the stuff that Sony need to do, the whole idea of hybrid development, virtual reality is like a really complicated thing to try and drive, because people that are gamers are used to a certain like level of game. You're used to a £70 game delivering a certain amount of content, but those games are developed for a massive audience that virtual reality doesn't have. The economics behind development of virtual reality games, people make certain assumptions and have certain expectations based on what they're used to from pancakes, and those things just do not play out in virtual reality. They can't, because the audience is not as big. The burden of actually paying for that it would be huge. The way around that is this hybrid development idea that Sony built the thing for, and it is built for it. It works very well when they do it, but they're dragging their heels, and Capcom are putting in all of the work. So no one's allowed to buy Capcom because Capcom are heroic at this point in time. Sony, it's really difficult on their roadmap because we know that they've not announced the heavy hitting virtual reality games that they need to if they want that thing to have any success at all. But they also haven't announced anything for the PlayStation 5 either. They're just not talking about anything. So it could be that their pipeline is a little more healthy in the VR space than we've seen, or it could be that they have already left it to kind of die and let other people take the burden of supporting it. I hope that there's a lot coming for it. In terms of whether it's a mistake or not, I'm never going to say it was a mistake, because I think I'm an idealist, and I think these massive corporations almost have a responsibility to explore technology like this. I mean, whether it's a smart business decision is another question altogether, but as a society, tech leaders should be leading tech. So I don't think it's a mistake in that sense.
That's a hell of a point.
And do you see the Apple VR AR headset thing that they're making? Do you see that pushing this forward, or do you think it's priced out of range for most consumers?
It's priced out of range, and it's not. I don't see it as a gaming device at the moment because it doesn't even have any controllers. But the fact that Apple are dabbling in that space is encouraging, because the same thing, they're a tech leader, so to dabble and explore and see what makes sense for this technology, I want to see them do that.
AR's the future, boys.
I think that's
AR. I agree, is the future. It's just a question of when does it become feasible?
Please soon. I'm so sick and tired of these phones.
I do think at some point you get Apple Arcade VR version on that VR. This the first iteration of it, but I think at some point it's going to have controllers, and they're going to dip their toes into gaming.
You can see that happening, right? I mean,
I can see
very high potential. They're already like lining it up, right? You say, hey, they have the Mac OS getting games, iOS is getting games. There's no reason this couldn't move over to that.
And what they doing with the hand gestures? Imagine playing games with just hand gestures. But now even
oh my god, Reforged Gaming would be incredible at games for once in his life.
Wow.
You know, you get that. There's some footage of someone like there's a goldfish getting through Elden Ring or something. You could do that. You could just play a stream of him, like he's beaten Godfrick or whatever it's called again.
Godfrick. Oh man, no, I think AR is the future, man. I really want it to come the next 5 years, because then I'll be like too old to enjoy it in the right frame of mind, because I'll be fucking old. I want it now. I want VR. Come on, man. Because what
are you saying?
Huh?
Okay.
I'm saying we're getting older. No, we're all. This is why I'm so desperate.
Time is flying too. Time
is flying, man. It's like this.
2023
the
is like
Xbox advert where the guy get. Yeah, bro. You remember the original Xbox advert where the guy was birthed and then he died, like into his coffin, like the original Xbox advert? That's what it feels like right now. I'll just be shot out.
This year flew by. Yo. So I understand.
Mad. I feel like we're old people go, if time moves so quick now, fucking so why? Why did you take it there? I took it there. But yeah, like we want this to, but now Xbox's fate is very different.
Yeah.
It's committed to the gaming space more than it ever has. This is pretty much a done deal. And
you know what surprised me? Was that in them emails, Satya was on Phil asked about this, look, about gaming and doing what like that. Like
I didn't see that. Was he on his case?
It was not on his case like that though, but he was checking in with Phil to make sure.
Yeah.
I gotta pull up the email.
It's a big deal for them now, right? The board is asking for acquisitions. The board they're certainly all in, as they said, right? That's what I said. They're all in on gaming. That's what happens when you're all in on gaming. They spend. This is the biggest acquisition in Microsoft history. That's freaking ridiculous. But they are in it. They're in it.
I think it was someone PlayStation, and Satya sent the email to Phil. He was like, I just want to make sure that we woo out the one.
Yeah, something like that. I forgot.
It was on price.
And me saying that.
On the email that you were talking about, Gaz, where he was talking about the performance, right? He was like, I was really performance. And it was like, great. And neither of us have announced pricing right at this point, correct? And something along those lines.
But to see him, like, because some people thought, but to see him that involved, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just
he has to be.
He's just not talking. Like, he really making, look, are we good? You know what I'm saying?
That's a big question, though, because that was the pivotal moment. That would have helped steer the industry. Pricing is the reason why freaking Jim Ryan was running up and down the corridors when the PS4 was, when the Xbox One price was announced.
Did you see, though, the other email? So there was that one that got most of the attention around the launch of the specs of the PlayStation 5 and how the Xbox was going to be more powerful or whatever. But there was another one regarding the pricing when the PlayStation 5 price went up. And there was an internal discussion on whether this would follow suit with the Xbox. And Phil was like, no, we should be gamer first. And in the email chain between executives, they said, yeah, you're right. We should be gamer first because we're not out of the woods yet. Fucking keep Microsoft in the woods, please.
Oh my god! Wait, what? Well, really?
Yeah, I remember seeing that too.
So Phil Spencer was like gamer first.
It wasn't Phil that said that. That was one of these marketing people, or I don't know, someone else.
Oh yeah.
It was a response to Phil.
Shit. But Phil was saying, so Phil is like, he says what he believes, but Phil Spencer is also fucking, he is
the shark in the water.
He is a shark. He's a shark in the water, bro. He's so like we call him the snake oil snail, just like Jim Ryan, but he does it in a nice, like, little maneuverable way. It was a regulator, like, we're third place. He goes to Paris to show on Kind of Funny. We're third place. We can't do anything. It's over. And then over there in the background, he's like, well, we fucking buy Nintendo. We can't buy Nintendo. Well, this. Oh, by the way, WB was happening. We're having this conversation. This guy's pincer movement. Now he's out in Japan. He's shaking hands with Square Enix. They are doing their bit. Sarah Bond, Phil Spencer are breaking their backs. Matt Booty, I'm sure. All of them, because this pressure is on.
That's what that told me. We might not see it in public. He comes, whatever you want to call him, Kumbaya Phil. We just want to protect gaming. We believe in gaming for everyone. But we're in that office.
Yeah, it's like
we're trying to take somebody. Exactly.
Aaron Greenberg, what the f? You're supposed to.
Exactly. Yeah, and I like that. I don't have to. I like that. And I think for years, even the Xbox fan had got into a mind state of Microsoft not being aggressive or this and that, and not having that killer mentality. You don't believe that no more after them
bro.
Especially Matt Booty.
I was there. I was wrong about this. Not about the game stuff. I was wrong about the appetite of the fucking. Even Matt Booty surprised me.
Yeah,
Sarah Bond is actually incredible. Like, she knows her shit. She just, I think she's primed for replacing Phil. But it's just like,
Hey, let's not
these
kick
guys
Phil
are
out
on
the
it.
door,
I'm
okay?
not,
Like we still got Phil for a while. Like,
yeah,
Bro,
bro.
either she gonna do that or she gonna take over Activision. Either one. That's how I see it. I gotta probably take
how
over
long does Bobby
Activision.
stay? What's our bet here? How long?
Bobby's gonna go. He's getting golden.
He's going to replace Phil
How- how
Spencer.
long?
He get billions from this. He out of here. He gonna leave with his billions, man.
Did you see him in the meeting with all the other execs just smiling, looking smarmy as fuck? I was like, this is
I mean, like,
$1 billion
you think you'd be there for
parachute.
like
You sticking
3 months,
around?
6 months, a year? What do you think?
I'd
He's not
say
going
in
immediately,
6 months.
obviously, but
It could be a transition.
Maybe there's a transition period.
I
I mean, it's a big deal. So a year transition period, actually.
Last I heard it was
because it's a lot.
17,000 employees, right? That's
That's a
way
lot.
bigger than
6
next-
months to just try
That's
and
a
handle
lot
that.
bigger than the
I mean,
10,000
negligent.
number.
You
That
need-
10,000 number.
yeah,
What,
it's
17?
last I heard
was-
it became 17. Yeah,
It depends on how they handle their affairs, but I think Activision's a mess. I've always said Activision's a mess internally. So Microsoft will have to fix that mess, and I think that's the reason why you may see Bobby
They're
Kotick
the
stay
most
for a
stable and
while.
robust third-party publisher. They're not a mess.
Oh,
They're
okay.
like
I mean,
of all
not
the big
wrong,
third-party
right?
publishers,
Because
they're the ones
they
that
release their games.
rode COVID, released games, and got their turnover
Yeah.
sorted quickly.
But the
So they're not a
Blizzard
mess
team's
in that
supposed to
sense as
be-
a functional business.
Yeah,
I think
he
that
might be
the
not
headache
bad.
we have is more
Blizzard
cultural
internally is
issues.
supposed to be a bit shit with what happened with Overwatch
Oh, they've got
and
problems.
Diablo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But they're cultural.
I mean, but that's
issues,
what I
right?
mean, though.
So,
That's the thing that matters.
but that's an
for
HR
me.
thing.
It's not an HR thing. It's just the way it's run, the project that was greenlit. Bobby was blamed by developers of Overwatch, saying the reason why you have this fucking Overwatch 1.5 is because he kept fucking us, making us work on Overwatch 1 for ages, because they're just milking it, but they didn't want to do that.
Yeah, and so
that
I
was-
guess
There's an article
there are
about
going to
that,
be some changes like that coming, right? Because the first thing is, Phil's idea is studios should make the games they want. Second, Microsoft has an edict, no crunch. That's going to be a big headache for them because that's how they get their games out. Right? They crunch.
No, but there'll be less
So-
pressure.
Less pressure, but also longer lead time before games come out. You may not get annual CODs anymore, and on top of that, we probably don't even want annual CODs
He's
anymore.
talking to taking them to 2 years.
Yeah,
years.
because or even 3. I don't care. Like right now, all we get is freaking remakes. I don't know if remakes is the answer. I would rather
Yeah,
they
just take the time. If COD has to
Take
sit
your
out
time,
for
make
4
something
years, but
Yeah.
how fucking amazing would it be? Yeah, if they make COD sit out for 4 years and fucking Jim Ryan's like, you dicks, when are you releasing this game? They're literally begging Xbox to release their first party exclusive. Like,
I mean,
come on,
I
fucking
don't know,
Microsoft, we need COD right now.
Jim Ryan on that call like,
It feels like, oh, you know
please,
what? We decided
please.
to evolve and use the cloud. We're using quick
This is
technology,
one
and
of
plus
those
we have to
things-
help you with that because of this parity. So just give us some time. It'll take us 4 years to explore this technology. We'll have to take a hit, both of us.
but that is one of the things that's interesting about these 10-year deals, right? Is like, are they locked into being, required to release a COD every year? I
don't
hope
know.
not. I hope it's like you can release whenever you release, but when you do, you're going to release everywhere. That's fine. I don't have any problem with
I
that.
don't
Fine.
think that's in the
But-
conversation because I don't think Sony don't believe Microsoft could afford, or I say afford, but really in terms of business sense, withhold COD from releasing. I'm just like laughing if they did. Well, it could be I wouldn't be surprised right now because Microsoft and Phil Spencer are so ruthless. If that clause doesn't exist where it's mandated to release a game annually, which I think is kind of crazy
I
and
don't think
maybe
they can do
quasi
that. That's ridiculous,
enforceable because you can't force people to work on a project.
Yeah, they just keep putting out seasons of stuff, right? To keep updating the game every month or so. That's fine, right? But I think they should slow down, let the studios make other games. I want other stuff from these studios.
well, that's what he said.
That's
That's
what
one of the
everyone-
things Phil said. Phil
But
said
there's a lot of things.
Well, he did say he
Position of power price.
he wanted to release those studios and allow them to, create and do the stuff that they wanted to do. He did say he wanted to take Call of Duty to a 2-year mark.
I do believe
So
it.
we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
It's not
And I
Phil
think-
though. Phil has the right heart, but it's the Satya Nadellas and them lot. They're like, yeah, bro, Don't treat this like a
it's ultimately
fucking
Phil's
toy.
decision
This is
as to
big
what's
money.
going to happen, right? So it comes down to making profit. That's what they have to do, right? And remember,
Exactly.
King keeps driving in revenue that pretty much covers all of ABK. So
Yeah.
the rest of it is all the
King
gravy
is
they keep
just an
making in
animal.
profits,
Candy Crush is just
So-
an animal in of itself. It's
right?
It goes to
And
show the
Warzone,
spending
right?
habits of the masses. That
Yeah.
Warzone
game,
goes
the
to them as
mobile.
well. So Warzone and Candy Crush just keep making money, right? So they can continue to run that and keep doing the seasons there.
oh, Warzone Mobile, right?
Exactly. So that just keeps generating revenue for them, and I think it's like half their revenue is just that. It's ridiculous how much they make there, and then the rest of it's just profit, right? And it's like, well, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You can slow that down a little bit, and like we can start getting other games, which can all go into Game Pass, maybe be exclusive. I love some of that.
No, absolutely. I want them to do that. I want
Yep.
them
Well,
to
they
do
can,
that.
they can do anything
They
they want.
should do that.
I think Call of Duty remain multi-plat, but I think the other Activision games
Yeah,
exclusive,
equivalently like an
Xbox,
Overwatch or
PC,
something
and
like
that.
Game Pass.
Fine, let that be multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Overwatch,
cloud,
Call
yeah.
of Duty, multi-plat, but anything outside of that, exclusive. Xbox, PC. You got to drive people into the ecosystem. You want them numbers
And
to
Luna.
rise?
And Luna, yeah.
Oh, Luna.
If it exists. It's like
Luna
Amazon's
and GeForce Now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who plays on Luna?
No one plays on Luna. The top shot. No one plays on fucking. Let's be real.
However, I'll point out something that if you are part of Amazon Prime, you do get Prime Gaming, and they do have like just like other services. They have like free games every month. So if you want,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
if you want to just get the free games, go get their free games. They'll be in your library. You can download them and play them on PC. So
Oh
just-
wow! Like downloadable
if you
games.
want-
I didn't even know that, and I pay for Prime.
Yeah, so
That's
if you have
fucking-
Amazon Prime, right, you can do.
Yeah, I
Prime.
pay for it,
I think
too.
it's available in UK as well. It's definitely available in US. I don't know if
Yeah,
there's
it
another
is.
country, maybe Canada. I don't know. There's a couple of countries where it's available, but I'm pretty sure they came to UK already. So you guys should be able to do it as well.
Ah, okay, interesting. That goes to show, man. That they don't market that well. They need a big game for that. I didn't even know they had that service.
Hey
It
guys,
came out last year, I think, right? It's pretty new. It's not like a service that's been around for years. I think it came out either last year or the year before, so
Okay.
it's relatively new. But yeah, they do need to do a better job marketing it. But yeah, if you guys have Amazon Prime, it's just there. You can just get it. They get free games every month. They have new ones, and then you can download them on PC. So
hey guys,
Go for
this
it.
might be a
Yo.
little bit off topic. I need that hat, brother.
The Illuminati hat.
It's fire.
I love this hat.
I've been
bro.
watching it the whole show. I just went to your website and that's it.
Shit! No, I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link for it. Where you get the hat.
But that was a play off that what people were saying
The whole
about
bullshit. Yeah.
that joint
Everyone-
fire though. That
Since
joint
then,
fire.
I just love this hat. It's like I bought
Yeah,
it
it's
for that,
fire.
and I'm just like, fuck yeah, I want to keep it. It looks so good, but when you see embroidered things like this, I'm
Yeah,
like,
when
it's
you
so
lift
nice.
your head up and I saw that, I'm like, oh, that joint fire.
Yeah, I fucking love this. That's probably the best hat. I've spent stupid money on the hats, by the way. Don't ask me why, because I've just how in Dubai I paid for about maybe £200. It was like $250 for a shitty hat, the pink dope hat. Pink dope. It was at a club. And then obviously they take advantage of you when you're like vulnerable. Fuck you, I don't know what the dirhams are. And then I got fucked. My mate's like, do you know how much you paid for that? And then it happened to me in another place, and I've got them. But fuck,
You got a massive hat collection?
I have a hater collection. It's called Hater as a brand, but
Okay.
I don't know where they are. I put them in a box. I'm just terrible about my money. Top shot with a $5 super chat. Microsoft is so far ahead with VR and AR tech, and they got assistance from DARPA, which is the Pentagon arm for research and development. They could potentially make something big in the AR space, but let's see their results because they're not really doing anything on that front.
the last I heard, they were waiting on the tech to get to a point where they could literally like post up as glasses on. It would
Yeah.
be that big. And it
Oh,
would
mate,
run
when that
everything
happens,
in
a game
AR.
changer.
Phil
That's a
said
game
he don't
changer.
want to. He
And
don't
I think
want
I would never
wires.
take this phone again.
500.
Yeah,
I'll
Phil
never use
Spencer
this
said
again.
he don't want to have to deal with wires.
Yeah,
said he don't-
exactly. And it
he don't
could
wanna have
essentially
to-
replace
yeah.
your phone. It would just be your
Yeah.
phone. And they're looking at that sub 500 mark. I don't know if it's going to happen, right? But that's what they're looking at. The tech has to get there though, and if it
Yeah.
does, then that's what they're looking at. So
And I reckon if it's AR, you can have like gloves, like really tiny micro movement. Even this, like fine movement, and that could
already
be in
does that.
gaming.
so Hololens can already detect that. So
Yeah, like very like no, I mean like skin based art like controls. You know, yeah, like full freedom of movement, like across touch.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. It can detect all of your fingers. It can detect what
really?
you're doing. It can already do that. It has cameras to detect. It basically has the Kinect built into it, so it can see all your stuff. So it's already doing that today.
Yeah, that
When that stuff happens, it's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be the big one. We talked all over the place, but yeah, Microsoft is ahead in that tech. Hopefully, they do something. At least in the gaming front, they don't even have fucking VR. So we're talking about all this shit. They don't even do VR for all the games that fucking could be incredible, like Forza Horizon and
I think
Forza
that
Motorsport.
might be like I don't know if it's a feeling, but yeah, it's an oversight that they should at least allow the game developers, the studios, to look at VR. Maybe it takes a studio to do that, to port to VR, but they should do that.
Yeah.
I think, like, you know, in some of the games, it just makes sense to do that on PC. It doesn't have to be on console, right? But at least
just
allow it on
PC.
PC.
That new Forza Motorsport would be incredible in the headset.
Yeah, like why not allow that to
It'd be
happen?
amazing,
I know it's
though.
time. I get that, but it's like, well, at least to allow the tech to go somewhere. Now, if they've gotten to the point where they're saying VR is dead, okay, fair enough, right? But if they see any viability, then why not allow like the studios to at least maybe a handful of games? Let's let them get VR enabled, right?
Especially when they bought a load of studios that have already been doing that, like prior to being acquired.
Right?
Obviously, Bethesda,
Yeah.
Ninja Theory,
Starfield.
In Exile,
Could you
all of
imagine
them.
Starfield VR?
I very much
you
imagine
imagine
Starfield in VR, and like I'm looking at the modding community, going,
so
"Come on, guys,
cool.
hurry up, please! It's going to be brilliant."
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be nice if they could do that. I don't know, whatever. We'll
Yo,
see if
that's
they can.
I think somebody gonna pull it. I think somebody gonna do a Starfield VR mod. I can see that.
But it's sad though, because every other thing, like Skyrim in VR, Fallout in VR, Bethesda did those. They've got a version of Doom in VR. Bethesda did that. Like Bethesda were prominent in the VR space before they were acquired, and Starfield would have been in VR. Now they're not allowed to, presumably. So it's a shame that it is reliant on the mod community to do it. But I'll take it. Just give me that. Hook it to my vein.
That is a negative.
Ask that the next time we get a chance, right? Is Bethesda not doing it because they don't have the time, or is Bethesda not doing it because Phil said so? I wonder if that's the case or not. Because in general, he says that the studios do what they want, right?
I think so. I think you're right. But they wouldn't have. They'll be building a mode that's not supported on the operating systems that they're basically contractually allowed
It's supported
to.
on Windows. It's supported on Windows. 100% supported on Windows.
But well, would they do their own accord? I don't think they would be. I think you're right. I don't think they'd be prevented from doing so. I also think,
I think
they
they're
just got
prevented from doing
acquired.
so. I absolutely think they're
think so?
prevented from doing so. Yeah.
I think they was more so focused on pushing the game out than trying to do it. Probably if a VR mode would come, it'll come later. If it's going to be done by that, I think they were just more so trying to get the game out the door.
If they're prevented from doing so, though, that's a big mark. against Microsoft.
Man. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is a big mark.
Yeah.
We'll see though, because
we'll try to ask that next time.
he just said Skyrim,
It's a very good
Fallout,
question to ask.
Skyrim, Fallout, and Doom all have VR modes. So
Yeah,
Starfield at
there's
some
even
point
a
should have the
Wolfenstein
same.
VR
Forza
game.
should have VR.
Yeah, see, well, at some point, Starfield. If not, then we got to question whether they are allowed to or not.
Yeah.
If they've been doing it up to this point prior to the acquisition.
The question has to be asked.
The only exception, the only thing that Microsoft had done, obviously they did Minecraft in VR when it was very early days for VR and they're experimenting. And Asobo managed to put enough pressure on them to let them do Flight Sim because it was the #1 community requested feature. But they had to lobby hard to be allowed to do that, and Microsoft don't own that studio. So
Wow.
Another one that would be interesting is when they were playing around with the idea of HoloLens in gaming, they had a demo of Halo with AR.
Yeah.
It would be very interesting if they could allow that.
Yeah, they had an AR. Yep.
Have a Halo VR AR experience, and see if that could take. It'd be an interesting one to do, right? Because then you would have like the
What's the
overlay in
text?
front of you.
Yeah.
There was a
Instead
rumor
of
of a Halo VR game back in years ago when
They did a tech
Microsoft.
demo.
When
It
Phil
was
Spencer
horrible.
was saying, yeah, but not that one. Oh my god,
Which
that's the
one?
worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
And
it
the
was
Halo 1 music screen and
torture.
everything.
It was actually cruel. It stuck you in like an interior. It did a really bad shooting gallery with these like outlines of grunts and stuff and elites, and you shoot a couple of them in this very artificial shooting range, and then when it closes off, it gives you a score. Master Chief drives in on a warthog. The shutter doors open and you see like the Halo world out there, but you're never allowed to go there and you're not allowed to do anything. Like that's it. Demo's over. Hope you had fun. Here's what you could have won.
Well,
That's it?
It was a slice, right? It was a slice of
It was a
something that could be.
dog shit, no effort slice, man. It was so
You think
bad.
it's no effort? That still takes work, right? And so
Who?
they did
One
something
guy?
to-
What the fuck? It's Microsoft.
Were you expecting 500 people to work on that? It literally
Oh,
probably is.
I was expecting not to be so
was probably
shit.
one guy.
Man.
it
There were
probably was
other
one guy.
games from indie developers who absolutely embarrassed that. You're comparing Microsoft to indie developers?
No, I'm comparing reality, right? This was a little demo
Poker
of
Stars
something
can
that
make a
could be.
Poker Stars so good, like the fucking gambling
talk,
company. And
guys.
all...
All right.
Sorry, man.
like, ultimately, I guess what you're saying is you don't want them to even try, right? So unless it looks
No,
like
I
it's
want
a
them
3D,
to try, but that wasn't the
like-
definition of trying. They just went, and then forgot about it. That's not them trying.
Exactly,
if
yeah.
they even, if they
It
were
was a
still
demo.
rubbing one out,
And now
then we
think
can
of
talk
it this
about
way.
trying.
You didn't even like it. So why would they
Because it's
continue?
shit. If you're gonna do something, do it well and commit to it.
Well,
So-
Right, so we're all
PlayStation
agreed
gets flowers.
Forza
response back
Motorsport
is,
should have
"Don't do
VR.
this."
Phew.
Yes.
Yeah. So your response back to them is don't do it, and then we're complaining that they're not doing VR. Well,
No, I'm saying do it, but do it properly. Don't give up when you do a shit job. Isn't that what we were saying to Google in the Stadia and mocking them for the very same thing? Like, bro, just because you did something and you flopped and then gave up, if I still
they
can't
actually
criticize you, then what
commercially
do I do, bro? Like,
right?
fuck it. In the future, I will forgive you.
But Gaz, that was a commercial sell, right? We're talking about a demo. If you went and saw a trailer for a game and it's like, this trailer just didn't have enough in it, therefore I will never give this game a chance. Like, dude, it was
Bro,
a small
Look at the contrast
slice
between
to
how
give you an
Sony
idea.
handled its first party and then in a VR setting, and how Microsoft handled it.
Did they have
in a
any
VR.
actual demos?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Did
talking
Sony
talking
actually
about on the
demo
Windows.
VR?
No, in his PSVR headset, you get what is it? What do you get?
What demo have they done? I'm actually
Not demo,
have
as in
you
the
actually
first
done a
party, not
on
demo. Sorry, a
PSVR?
first party showing of their game. Just contrast the two. Halo is not. Is Halo so fucking low that you bastardize and shit it out like that?
I still
Halo.
don't understand because I don't see the equivalence. What they were showing was here's the game, right? Here's like the actual game.
Yeah, but they didn't even
What
put effort
this
in the
was a
demo. Have you
tech
played the demo,
of what
Hargeet?
could be, right?
Did you play the demo, Hargeet?
Of what I saw the demo and essentially it was okay. This is cool. This is like the idea of what it could be. Right?
You
And
saw
that's
the
what I took
demo,
it
but you
as.
never played. Bro, it's so bad. Like, what do you want me to say? It's bad. It's bad. It was so bad. Look,
So
history
in other
tells
words,
you
they
everything.
shouldn't continue, right? I mean, what
Or
you're
do if
saying
they're going to
back is they
continue,
shouldn't-
do
they
it
should
well.
continue.
You've got first.
It's also
party
though, so this
games, bro.
demo, things were different. Like
Horizon.
Microsoft's outlook on virtual reality was different when this came out. This was probably 6 years ago now. This is the era when they did do Minecraft. They did like test the waters with this. It's before Phil Spencer tried a virtual reality headset and felt sick, which I'm still convinced is what happened. He came on stage, he's like,
Yeah.
Xbox Scorpio,
'Cause
it's
that's
going to
not
give
an
you
easy
high
thing to get
fidelity
around either.
virtual reality. It's going to be brilliant. Oh, I feel a bit sick. Nobody's allowed to work on virtual reality anymore. Canon story, that is what happened.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised because it's not. perfect.
the
It's very
AZ map
hard
Everything
supported
I'm
it.
saying is
deal
what you
with.
argue
It's
with
a
me
problem.
about. From
It's a problem.
It does-
But either way, I guess I don't know. I've done enough with virtual reality. I understand like trying to do it just a little slice of something, which you may think is easy to do. It's not. Like it still takes work. Did you play the Matrix demo, for instance?
yeah, really.
Yeah. How long was that? Like 10 minutes?
It's very long, man. It's like a long time. It depends. You don't have time. You have the run through has a few minutes, but then you can just.
That's it.
I
right?
spent
Yeah.
hours on there. I was there. I made my whole future of gaming video just on that demo.
Yeah, but they gave you that little slice of whatever, right? And that's kind of how it works. And that took them how long? Like I don't know, a year or something like that to make that. So I'm sure this was like a 6-week thing. Hey, put something together, see if we can like showcase it, right? Like
It's
fair
not. I'm
enough,
not
okay?
expect that kind of.
I'm just trying
approach.
to put it into what the intent was, but fair enough. You
I
didn't
mean,
like
what
it.
does it matter to us? Like
Yeah,
they
you didn't
didn't
like it.
try. Ultimately, they fail or they're failing to do that. All we're asking for is at a serious look. You've got the games. You've got Forza
Forza
Horizon 5.
Horizon.
You've got Forza Motorsport.
Yeah, it'd be nice to at least try the VR part of
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. So we can't be easy on them and say, "Oh no, but it didn't make business sense." Just,
No, I
no,
still
you.
think Halo would
They
be kind
even
of an
said
interesting
VR. Scorpio had the word VR. There's another broken promise. It's a broken promise. He said VR. It's on stage. It's on the slides. It's not here. And you've got games that can do that. So vital part of it. May not have mainstream success, which is why they're not
So
doing
he was
it.
just smarter and said no.
No, but he made the business decision
Correct.
as opposed to the gamers one, and Sony did it. So
And
let's
Sony
see.
failed.
Well, let's see how
Yeah.
that fares.
I don't know how. Hopefully, it doesn't take away from other things that are more valuable, right? But let's see. What the Sony
Exactly.
decision
This is
ends
why
up being.
I'm just. This is one facet of it. VR, like Microsoft, in everything else. But I am so much more excited about Microsoft's visions, not just their roadmap, but that future console. And I want to egg them on to do that hybrid. Sony's not going to do it. Sony want to play it conservative and just get the power, whatever, just maintain status quo and market share. They're not Nintendo. I'm not giving them the flowers, despite the fact that PSVR is one of the lone examples of that. Very few. And their first party slate
Yeah, I'm
of
not
their games that don't
sure
hold
where
that
the
high
world will
esteem.
be in 5 years, but will that console even be needed is the question, right? And so we'll see if it is or isn't, because if the general devices you have that much power, then you don't need the console. The console would have to be something that's a little mid-range, maybe not as far as the PC, but a mid-range thing that gives you that additional power. Otherwise, you just target the devices that are already there. But we'll see. Well, all those things were in 2020, I think, right? So they've come a long way just in 3 years to see where things are going strategically. They can see what Apple's doing, what Samsung's doing, what everybody's like. So things are going to kind of evolve, right? We'll see what that console looks like. It may not be that. It probably won't be that. They'll probably still do like an equivalent to a PS6, which will have, I don't know, umpteen teraflops, whatever it'll have, like 40.
King David says there's not going to be a PS6. It's going to be a USB stick.
I'm hesitant to say that there won't be. I definitely
will be.
It's possible if the tech gets to a point where it's.
I don't think it will that quick. I don't think not in 5 years.
5 years from now, that doesn't seem
feasible. There will be a PS6. There will be an Xbox.
There will be a PS6. I
There'll
think
definitely
there'll
be
one more
one.
gen, and then it'll become kind of questionable as to whether you.
After that, yeah. But this next gen, there's definitely a PS6.
I think
definitely
there'll be one more. And the reason I also say that is like at some point there's just diminishing returns. If you can get path tracing at reasonably close to 4K 60,
you can get that now on GeForce Now. Apparently,
correct. And if you can push that into a console, how much more do you really need? Right. At some point,
very good point. That's what I'm saying. I need to try GeForce Now. What do I do? What do I do on PC? Like
on PC, yeah.
But I mean, I'm assuming the next PS6 will do something
browser?
in that range, right? It's going to be much higher. Oh, GeForce Now.
Yeah. A
It's
browser.
have got an app you can download, or you can do it in a browser. But download the app.
Download the app. Okay, I want to try this and see what's
well,
like.
right?
The GeForce Now, they even found a way to get it working on the Xbox from the
Yeah, I think
Series
you can
X.
just go in the Xbox browser, right?
Browser,
Oh
And,
shit!
I thought that
That's
had
crazy.
been
Yeah, bro.
blocked after the fact. You used to be able to, but I thought
They blocked it?
it was blocked. Could be wrong. Maybe it's still viable. I don't know.
I'm gonna check.
GeForce
I
Now.
wouldn't think so. I think I'm gonna check.
If,
'Cause I was thinking about testing it out myself.
I think we all should, because then I think more people are starting to talk about it, and we might be sitting on tech because it's cloud, and we're not really sold by xCloud in our previous experiences. So if GeForce Now is as good as Acer says, I'm going to scream about it because that's
ask
path
Doc Dark
tracing.
about it.
Can you do path tracing?
Yeah,
You can path trace there, so you can get an equivalent 4090 to play that game.
4080.
48.
4080, so it can path trace that you can get your 4K 60 on Cyberpunk with it, path traced. Ask Doc Dark about it. He came into my stream yesterday to tell me how amazing it was after he tried it.
Oh shit! I'm gonna try this. So Bluetooth to the PC as well, or USB. Is it intuitive like that? Can I put a USB controller to my PC?
Whatever you normally got for your controller, you can use. Yeah.
Oh, wicked! That's actually gonna be sick. I'm gonna definitely check that out. Fantasasha with a $5 super chat. If Microsoft will allow Guy Godin's VR desktop app, which allows Quest VR Quest VR sets to play Steam VR games, that should work easier and less riskier. So Guy Godin's VR desktop, which allows Quest VR headsets to play Steam games. So that'd be pretty cool.
Interesting.
Microsoft should be a little bit pragmatic, but I think the market isn't there. The market force isn't there. We as core fans want to have. Is this the cloud-based stuff? Is that the streaming right now? What's that?
Yeah, that's the video that's on my channel. That's Watch Dogs at the moment.
Is it? But you've got one just running 4090 from months ago. This is a new one just on cloud.
The video is on. Yeah, it's the one that's on my channel. It's just showing GeForce Now. Everything on there is from GeForce Now, except the stuff that isn't. There's a little bit of xCloud in there for comparison's sake and things like that. But
what's the latency?
You actually look at it after the show. Look at it properly, like 4K HDR or whatever, on whatever screen you want, and you'll be amazed. And that's after putting it onto YouTube.
You smashed into that building like you didn't give a shit. Was there any latency?
Right. Goes on into the video a little bit later. It shows Doom Eternal, shows the cursor to cursor latency. It's like 1 or 2 frames.
Wow, that's incredible. You're playing God of War there as well. That's mad.
That's Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but yeah.
Oh shit, I thought that was a little kid from God of War.
Me too. That's what I was looking at.
That's why I
was
like,
that wasn't the same in God of War.
Yes.
I thought it was like Atreus. I was like, wait, he looks a bit short there. Yeah, that's very good, man. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to check Cyberpunk 2077 pod tracing because I really want to do that, and that's the big reason I wanted to upgrade my PC. But if that's doing it, the tech is already here. Then it's just dank memes after that. But yeah, man, there's just it's just crazy stuff going on right now in the space. Well, we haven't even talked about freaking Cyberpunk 2077. Has anyone played it? The new one?
Years.
Not
no
yet.
one has.
I'm waiting. I haven't played the game yet, so I'm waiting because I've been waiting for all the patches. So I'm waiting for Phantom Liberty. Does that come out next week?
When does it come out? I thought it was already out.
Is Phantom Liberty out? I thought it was out next week.
No, so patch 2 is already out. Phantom Liberty comes out next week, I think.
Yeah.
So the patch that actually gets you to play revises it is out. So you might as well do it now then. Hargeet.
No, I'll wait till the DLC. I already bought the DLC. I'll wait for the DLC.
Oh, I don't think it affects your game. It might do, actually. He might do. Neo Red, thank you so much for $5. Cloud might explode thanks to Starlink Amazon. What about that?
It's a new internet from satellite.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And people forget that
Elon Musk
going up and then coming down takes time. But okay, whatever. AKA latency for those who don't understand that.
All right. What's that you're saying about 20 to 100 space ISPs also? We will not use controllers or keyboard thanks to brain computers. What the fuck? Neo, he's on some.
All right, okay.
He's on fucking crack, bro. Okay. Neo, what is it? He doesn't take the red pill, the blue pill. He takes all the pills.
Now we put chips in people's brain. Okay.
But you know what? There was we joke about it, but I saw something on the news. Someone's controlling it with their brain. Like there are implants. Very early in the medical field, a woman was controlling something
Halo.
With a Halo.
There's a streamer that was doing it with a little neuro thing.
It is for spine issues, right? There are, if you're paralyzed, there is some ways to use brain implants to help you send the signals. So there are some cool things like that. I mean, good if you need to use that, fine. But I'm not going to voluntarily put freaking
I've signed up for the beta
device in my head.
You know what? I would fuse my body with technology if the Deus Ex. If you ever played such a good game, Deus Ex, was it Mankind Divided? No, that was the one before that, the good one. They really sold the idea of like having these implants, but your body was rejected them, so you had to buy all these medicines all the time. And so you had these different militias and factions, purists who like humans, the robot. It's just so crazy, man. And we're kind of like with AI, it's just mad. We're going to get there. Sorry, I just love talking about AI and shit. Chat, I think we've covered everything. Well, wait, actually, hold on. What game? Do we talk about gameplay, bro? But we've been too busy playing the games. So what's come out this week? I swear something came out. I haven't played it. I've been playing Armored Core. I'm going to play Mortal Kombat 1. And then I don't know what else to play after that. There's so many games.
We had
The Crew's really good, by the way.
Yeah, The Crew. Is that out yet or not?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Is it out now?
The Crew is out, yeah.
Party Animals, Payday, right? Those
Party Animals is really good. I'm seeing like gameplay being shared a lot on social media. I haven't played it. I'm just going to be like...
Kombat.
There's too many
Party
games.
Animal joint?
Party Animals, yeah.
Y'all played it yet? I haven't played it yet.
I haven't played
looks
it yet.
fun though. It looks.
It does look.
It looks fun.
I think that's Liza P. That's
Liza
the big
P,
one.
yeah.
So a lot of that's the one that a lot of people in the Soulsborne community are really like actually think it's a good Soulsborne game, and that's very surprising to hear because not surprising. It looked nice, but in terms of like it's sitting at 80 Metacritic, which is nothing outstanding. But the Souls community is really warming up to. It's not just Hollow. It's a decent game, tough game. I think this game earns. These kind of games earn a little bit of respect and notoriety based on their difficulty. I feel like the Souls community will be more willing to accept a difficult game just because of the whole. It's an achievement to beat this game. It's almost like a barometer. People test your skills if you can complete. I don't think the games are actually that hard. I mean, to be honest, it's just patience and just learning patterns. I don't think it's that hard. But the Souls community, I've never played a game I thought was really hard. Even Sekiro, like I enjoy the parry. Sekiro is the best game. It's not a Soulsborne game though. But
the funny thing is, if you go back to the games that we used to play in the 80s and whatever, those games were really difficult to play.
Bro, I'll tell you one game that I'm so intimidated by that vexes me, and I'll go probably to my grave not playing. Is it Galaga? Galaga. Oh, how do you pronounce it?
Galaga.
Oh my god, this game is so hard, man. Like they just give you one life, throw a trillion things at you, and you're like, you have to complete the whole game on this like 3 lives. So hard. And I can't do it. That's the only game that's defeated me ever.
Yeah, things used to be so much more challenging back then.
Galaga, was it Galaga? Where is it?
So
I even
more
deleted it off my
things.
desktop. It's crazy, man. Like so I just think Soulsborne games are the difficulties are overhyped, in my opinion. It's just a different game, and a lot of the time you have to learn the game and what the game is trying to do. And I think that's the people conflate that with difficulty. And there's a bit of like snobbery, don't you think, with Soulsborne games? Like I feel like there's like, oh yes, I actually naturally like From Software's games, Armored Core.
Well, I don't know about snobbery. I kind of like look. I'm not into Soulsborne games that much, but like, I think there is a level of hey, don't come and spoil this, right? We have something that actually challenges you, and we'd like to keep that, right? And that's
fair,
right?
the sanctity of that
challenge you.
But that's good. I'm talking about more like in Erica's chat, like someone is there like, oh, you're not fucking playing this properly. You're not playing it in the purest form. Or if someone, remember when people were using magic on Elden Ring, you got all these freaking neck bit like, well, actually, if you didn't use your melee build, you're not really playing the game. Bro, what the fuck? The developers, I didn't like. I was melee. Actually,
I don't know if you want to call it cheated, but I basically used the simple ways to get higher XP. Right, so I did that to make myself able to at least continue and keep playing. Some people would say that's not the way you should play. It's like I don't care.
I played co-op with Dealer. I shared on Twitter a picture of me and Dealer like on Elden Ring, and someone commented below, "Oh, you noob scrubs." I'm like, what? I can't even play fucking Elden Ring in co-op and share a screenshot without being insulted by an Elden Ring fan. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, shut the fuck up and play me in any other game, you bitch. Quake 3 right now. Halo. Yikes. Go on, play actual skill-based game. What do you want? You fucking leveled up your character a little bit and learn a couple of patterns. Suck my go play multiplayer. That's actually difficult because you're fighting other people that actually have skills. Oh, fucking Elden Ring. It's such a casual. So stupid. Sorry, gents. I'm kind of like meandering out into madness as always. I think we've covered everything we have, chat. It's been an what is that?
One
Not
other thing
Whisper
I'll bring
Tokyo
up,
Game Show, but that's all right.
Oh yeah,
I missed it. What actually happened there? I heard it was shit. That's all I heard. I didn't actually watch it.
It depends on who you are, right? Like if you like any of those games, it's not. But
what was the games? I actually missed it. I've been so busy working on the source. Actually,
so Xbox obviously had the opening showcase, and they had like Octopath Traveler 2 and some other bits and pieces like that. The bigger kind of show steely games for the whole of it, as far as I could tell, obviously Final Fantasy Rebirth. They continue to show far too much of it, and Dragon's Dogma 2 looked really good.
We also got Division 3 announced.
Yep.
Which wasn't
Division
at
3
TGS,
announced.
Yep, Division 3 announced. There's a new game from Swery, Hotel Barcelona.
That looks awful.
Yeah, I know it looks pretty
Swery
weird.
and
I don't know if it
Suda51
looks
in
that
the
good at all.
weirdest collaboration. The way that they told it on the Xbox Wire blog was like, was Swery, I can't remember which way around it was. I think Swery and Suda51 were together at an event, and Suda51 asked Swery to announce that they were collaborating on a game, like on the spot. They'd had no prior discussion and this game didn't exist, but they're like, oh, do me a favor, like my family's here and I don't know, I need to impress them. Can you just say we're working on something? And they did, and they announced that they were working on something, and then they talked about it afterwards and made up this game, went away. Swery went and put the build together, and it sounds novel and quirky and eccentric and looks kind of terrible.
Shocking.
But
may not be for everyone, I don't know, but yeah, so that was one that was
D4.
yeah, he made D4, which it was
I
interesting.
actually enjoyed
like,
D4 a little bit.
Yeah, but it never went anywhere because they didn't do the rest of the episodes, which kind of sucks. But
Yeah, sucked.
they got Octopath Traveler 2 coming to Xbox now. Finally, that was announced. They are whatchamacallit, regionalizing or localizing to Japanese Elder Scrolls Online, which I didn't even realize that Bethesda hadn't done that. So
Elder
they will
Scrolls
now have-
remaster as well, leaked by the way. Oblivion remaster, sorry. Forgot to mention.
Well, yeah, there's a whole bunch of the game stuff that we could talk about from the leaks. There's
Yeah.
another leak thing I could talk about. But, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
He also stated today they have on Japanese devs working on exclusive AAA Japanese games for Xbox. No names or anything like that. No studio names or anything like that. But he said
exclusive
they are
of Japanese games for Xbox.
Yes, he said AAA at that.
AAA.
Games
said that.
bigger. Yeah, AAA.
That's a big
We got some
deal,
stuff
bro.
coming, man. We got
Bro,
2 Yakuza.
When was the last time there was a AAA Japanese first-person exclusive for Xbox?
It's been a minute.
First party or first person? What do you mean?
First-
I don't know
well,
if it's first person,
Anything
but like this, yeah. Well, I mean, we had I don't know if
exclusive,
Hi-Fi
third party or first party. There's been never been. That's significant, no?
Well, Hi-Fi
Lost
Rush, I
Odyssey?
guess. I don't. Is
What?
that considered double?
D4 is the last example I can think of in fucking Xbox
But that's not
One.
AAA, right?
That's
But, I mean,
exactly.
Hi-Fi Rush is a first party Japanese game that came out.
And it's not AAA.
No, I don't think so. I would.
That's
call it
double A.
AA, yeah.
So
Ghostwire,
Post-up saying
I
that
guess,
they've
but it's not
confirmed that
exclusive.
multiple AAA first party or third party, whatever, exclusives to Xbox. That is big. I think that's what they need to do. We've been saying it for ages, but confirming that on stage shouldn't be scoffed at.
And then we got 2
Considering-
Yakuzas coming in to Game Pass. The one that's coming out is coming in day and date, and then the one that came out earlier is coming in. And yeah, the localization thing blew me away. I didn't realize that Bethesda had never localized. That's crazy. So now Elder Scrolls Online will be available in Japanese, which is kind of cool. Phoenix Wright is coming to Game Pass as well. Again, it all just depends on whether you like these games. I like them, so I think these are great.
I do. I just want to make. They're just time intensive. I really want to complete Persona. I need that on mobile because that looks great. I definitely want to play. I definitely want Lost Odyssey. I've got the save. I need to play that game. It's such a good RPG, but it's just like they suck your time away.
Things, right? So,
Mad.
so one of the other leaks was, and I don't know if people are talking about this, but there was an estimate of number of console sales that they expect, and I don't know if people saw that or not.
What was it?
So they expected it 3 years to 29 million and FY27 to 59 million, which is in line with certain estimates that somebody here might have been saying.
Is that what you've been saying? I don't know. Remember?
I think 60 million is kind of their target, and if
I
they
think
go
you said this
higher
before.
than 60,
Yeah.
yes, I did. And if they go above 60, that's fantastic.
I think that'll be good for them.
60 is kind of where they expect to go, which will put them in a 2-to-1. Just let's be honest. I'm sure the PlayStation 5 will sell 120 million. Right?
Yeah, easily.
Because they're expecting to do 60 in this fiscal, right? They want to get to 60, 65 by the end of this, which will be March of next year. So I
Sony.
think they will, PlayStation.
They're crazy, man. Those PlayStations sell like mad.
They're already in the 40s. I would expect them to sell 7 to 10 million this holiday,
They're really pushing for it as well. The game that they're
very
offering.
well within reach. It's very well within reach.
Sony are beasts, man. That's why the consolidation needs to happen. Wait till we see my Souls video and how angled it is. But yeah, that's so shout out to
There's
you for
gonna be
that.
so many of these things that people analyze after. There's so many documents that got leaked, right? So let's just keep
it's
getting
pretty fucking crazy. It's
stuff.
crazy.
So yeah,
Alex
yeah.
was saying you forgot to talk about David Jaffe saying Spider-Man 2 doesn't raise the bar.
We could talk about that a bit more. We did talk about it a little bit, but
I mean, ultimately, it's just I do agree with him. The Sony template for me had worn out even last gen. So if you could up the production levels and the graphics and the wow factor, Insomniac have done it already based on what. Well, I need to play the game because yeah.
So this is kind of the fun part about that, right? Is that their studios have done such a phenomenal job of taking advantage of those boxes that the graphics were already ridiculously good anyway, right? And
yeah,
how much further do you go, right? If it already looks lifelike, how much more lifelike, right? So that's
I'll be honest with you. Like people think I'm crazy, but Starfield's lighting has wowed me more than Spider-Man's incredible visual textures. Everything is better. The NPCs look better. All that shit. Yeah, the lighting on Starfield is the current gen feeling for me. And I like the Ratchet and Clank was beautiful visual spectacle, but then after that, I don't know, I need something a little bit more. Spider-Man looks great, but ultimately it's not pushing. It's the same game, man. It can run on PlayStation 4. Mechanically, though, will they have made it the combat more enjoyable? I found it very easy and just rely on the radial menu and spam gadgets, and it's not really that hard.
So I think like part of it is that they have a specific type of like third person with essentially bow and arrow, but in this case it's going to be webs, right? And at some point you just you want something different, and they're not like Starfield is somewhat different than say Pentiment or Grounded, or so, at least you have a weird variety of games, right? It's now obviously Grounded is not the same thing as Spider-Man. I get that, but that is the problem. Is like they started their latest showcase. No, it's like the state of play with baby steps, which is funny enough that it's a sad dad walking simulator box. And the first thing they showed is a sad dad walking.
Yeah, it is actually made a sad dad walking simulator. It's crazy.
Funny. But anyway, they don't have those, right? So at least they're going third party. They're trying to find those. But they used to make their own quirky games, and like they've totally just shut that down. And I don't know if that's great, right? Like even Nintendo, even with their awesome games that they keep making, they could just focus on Zelda and Mario and just keep winning, right? They don't. They keep coming up with quirky, weird things.
Well, now there's going to be gas. So there's going to be gas and mainstay.
And that's what they're going after. And it's like, well, first, did your customers actually ask for this? I don't know that they did. And when you did your showcase, it landed with a thud, right? Mm-hmm. They did announce new games, first-party games. They were all games as a service outside of Spider-Man. And nobody even recognizes that they're first-party games.
I do. I sang a song about it. Sony's fan base they can put up the impression and God of War Ragnarok, they'll squeeze it, but they know that Spider-Man once it's done, that's it. Like even BG's getting it from all the ponies now. On Twitter, he said after Spider-Man, he goes, someone shared a list of all the PlayStation games, and he goes, none of these are first party.
Right?
So it's just
they do that a lot. They do that a lot. You say, well, what is it after Spider-Man? Then they go bring up Square Enix games and all these third-party games and stuff like that. And some of these games are coming to multiple systems. What specifically talking about first party? Outside of the leaks, prior to the leaks, we knew Microsoft roadmap. You could go probably all the way into 2026, knowing which game's gonna come out. You can't say, now we know to 2030. You can't tell me a Sony road. I'm talking about specifically first party. You can't give me a Sony roadmap after Spider-Man.
There's no roadmap. And
Nowhere.
you might say, oh, they closed their heart close to their chest, but it's looking barren and they don't have anything. And internally, they've had delays and confirmed. So, like, they blew their load quite early on. And right now, it seems like we need to see Wolverine soon, where Factions has gone MIA. What the hell was Sumo doing? Come on. And they're going to rely on third parties like Rise of the Ronin and all of that, which is great. But, like Michael Matreski says in the chat, Sony fans just rent their exclusives. And so does Sony as well.
But that goes to show what Jim Ryan just said. They have become too reliant on third party. And it sounds like what Microsoft did, in the 360 era?
Yep.
Moving it. And now Jim Ryan is expressing that same sentiment. We need to, and he said, that's why we're making acquisitions, to double our studio efforts so we can become less reliant on third-party games, especially in the areas that they are weak in.
Yeah. But
Microsoft already ahead of the game, though.
Yeah, well, the true Sony fans are voicing their concerns about the lack of first party. The other fake ones are masquerading on glories of the past.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to assume that they have nothing because that just seems improbable, right? So I'm just waiting. Like that last showcase just blew my mind that it didn't have anything.
They have to
really
deliver the
pull
next
me in
showcase.
next year.
They have to deliver the next showcase.
When does
On top of
Marathon
that-
come? Well, Marathon is multiplayer, but it's still a first
Marathon's
party.
coming to Xbox, right? So and that's fine. That's great, and it's a game that may really do well. That's awesome, but it is a multiplayer game. That's not the Sony bread and butter. But look, we don't even know about PC releases. I'm expecting, hey, some of the games you released in 2021, 2022, those should start coming in to, into PC. Where are the releases? What's
And we know Wolverine
right?
ain't coming out in 2024. That's already been confirmed. I don't know why they thought Wolverine was
right. And like you had Demon Souls. Did that make it to PC? I don't think it has made it to PC.
That hasn't made it to PC yet.
Ghost of
You have
Tsushima is the
Ghost of Tsushima.
big absence.
What was that? Sorry.
Yeah, that one you said. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is the most notable absence because that was 2018, like ages ago. But
Yeah.
I reckon they're timing that for the sequel. So
I think Ghost was 2020 along with Last of Us 2, which was also 2020.
Yeah.
And neither one of those has made it over, right? Where are those? Like, I would expect to see. They're big games. Why the heck haven't they come over?
So
I've been waiting on Horizon 2. What is that? Forbidden West. I don't know where that is, right? God of War Ragnarok. I would expect that to be a next year PC release. Like, but I'm not sure what's going on. Even the PC side, there's like nothing. Like, what is going on here? Like, there's something weird.
The only thing you got Wolverine. And then Blue Point's supposed to be working on their first ever original title, but we don't know what that is. We don't know when is Naughty Dog the rock star of Sony who released a game a generation.
I mean, in the PS3 gen, they released so many games,
or no games,
right? and then in the PS4 generation, they had Uncharted 4, Lost Legacy, and Last of Us 2, right? That was still pretty good. I don't know what's happening now. We'll have to see, right? But I guess,
I think they're distracted by Factions, but their new IP will be very good.
hopefully will be something, right? But
Neil Druckmann talked about
it. Remake or something?
Has Faction been temporarily shelved, or is it shelved?
We don't know.
Definitely.
I think it's done.
You don't think it's?
I think it's done.
Will ever see the light of day?
I think it's done.
I think they need a gas game. That's why they won't be done, but maybe reworked significantly. They need a gas game.
They have Haven with their
Lost
games, Helldivers, Concord.
Yeah, but not at this level. Lost was a big name.
Well, you got Bungie with Marathon.
Who's checking for help?
Yeah, they're all. That's the funny thing is PlayStation's first party studios, man. Like apart from these, like they've had tided you over with these. Insomniac is carrying you, by the way, because the other studios they're working on gas or whatever the hell they're doing. I don't know where is it. It's going to be a tough few years. Like Spiderman will do well though, but it's like
I just think they waited too late to. Well, it's not too late, but I think they still decided too late to jump into the live service arena. You should have. You should have splashed when PUBG and Fortnite. When you saw them booming, you should have started.
Microsoft isn't going hard on gas as well. Like, what's it got? The big gas success.
But they have some gas games though. They have like
they've got gas games. Yeah, Minecraft is huge.
We have to.
They've got Sea of Thieves at smaller pocket, but still healthy.
They're saying Forza
Motorsport is being released as a platform for that reason. Yeah.
It's going to be a live service.
But it's not though. Forza Motorsport is not a live service.
That's what they said. That's what they said. They said they moved
live service games.
So
they said in terms of Forza, they said they moved pretty much their entire tool set to the cloud so they could seamlessly update the game on the fly. The guy come out and said every month you're gonna get new cars update and new challenges and stuff like that. So I guess they're prepping for a live service game.
So in that sense, absolutely. But it's quite interesting with Forza Motorsport. We had an interview with Chris Sasaki, and they internally said this is our full-fledged game. We don't consider it as like a gas game, but it's the manner in which they deliver content updates in a way that if you played a campaign now, like on launch, and 2 weeks later you played the campaign then, not 2 weeks before, you'd be like, you'll be playing a whole new level that wouldn't even be in the original one, and it will be woven in a way that you wouldn't be able to distinguish. Like, how is this not in the game? You know, Nürburgring is going to come after the fact, and there's going to be the way it's going to be incorporated. Let's see how they do it. But you know that.
I mean, for games,
but it's still a gas game
online, right? They have Fallout 76.
And soon they'll have World of Warcraft.
they will, and they'll have Warzone, and like there's a lot there, right?
World of Warcraft, man.
And then you can say
Blizzard
Halo Infinite was intended to be a live game,
service.
Right? So they have that. Anyway, so like Microsoft,
if they bundled World of Warcraft subs into Ultimate, by the way, on PC, I don't know if they will. We'll see the numbers would go mad. If they want big numbers, put World of Warcraft subs in Ultimate.
We'll see what they do there, right? Maybe like Ultimate tier includes it.
WoW is not dead.
Like that. So WoW is dead. Okay, I think there's
WoW is dead. I've been hearing that for the last 20 years. WoW is dead. WoW is still. If Xbox put WoW on console, and I think it could work, it'd be. We had this conversation before.
They should.
But, so I think they should. And they should get. It would be fucking crazy. But that's a good way to test your theory as well, Hargeet, about how much are people willing to pay per server blade if they're going to pay an extra subscription for WoW on console. I spoke very fast there. Sorry, what were you saying?
I don't know where the heck I was going now.
no. Sorry, apologies. I kept I've interrupted.
But I guess we're talking about what's going on with Sony's games. I also think there's a potential that they've been holding some of this as a counter to the ABK final acquisition, right? Because they need to do something to counter that narrative. That is a massive, massive announcement in the gaming world, right? So, so maybe they do have something. Look, a lot of the insiders, right? The industry insiders were like, why didn't they talk about this? I know they have it ready. Why didn't they talk about it? And I'm guessing that's it. They're like, we gotta hold these things so that when that ABK announcement drops and we have that round table Phil discussion, we need to have something like 10 minutes later that says, hey, this is what we got. Don't abandon us, right? And like, I'm hoping that's the case because I walked away from that showcase.
I could see something like that. I could see something.
Right. So I hope they do actually announce something.
Just to kind of temper their fan base to restore.
I want to see the next 2 to 3 year roadmap. What are you putting out? What are we getting? Right. So I don't know, but whatever. We'll see what they do with it. I hope that was it. It's just that they're waiting for this ABK thing to finish.
Yeah.
They've got to be sitting there going, damn, what are we going to do to counter this?
Well, it's pretty much done now. Now you can go buy you a PlayStation 5 and get a free PlayStation. And get a free PlayStation. Well, supposedly.
We didn't talk about this. I don't know if it matters.
Let's talk about it now because I actually noticed it behind you. So one of the other things that was announced was this controller. This looks really cool. And I'll tell you why. It's that other function, that Bluetooth whatever version, like the Stadia equivalent.
Direct to cloud.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the kind of indication that Microsoft, this is the firmest, assuming this is actually releasing, this is the firmest kind of commitment I can see them actually committing to potentially the cloud element of things, because
and this was still early on, right? So this is pretty much like 2020, 2021 or something like that, right? When they were putting this together, along with the Series X without the disk drive, which we haven't talked about much, but I don't know that any of that's happening, because they had a Series S in there as a refresh as well with a 1 terabyte. That is coming out. It's already like available now, right? But they didn't do all the other upgrades that were listed, and I think it's because the component costs have just made it improbable. And if you're gonna like, that was supposed to be $300, it's coming out at $350, right? And I think that was because the components, if they put in all the ones that we wanted, it would become $400, and they couldn't possibly put it out at $400. It's just not an option, right? So I don't know that all these things are coming, so I'd be cautious that this actually made it. It was listed as funded, I think, right? This was listed as funded to look into. I don't know how much of it actually made it, if it actually happens. I wouldn't be surprised that the controller made it and the other features in the consoles didn't make it, because I don't know how much of a requirement there really is for those additional features. Yes, it's nice to have Wi-Fi 6, but ultimately it's not going to make a huge difference. So I think they just leave it the way it is, and just, you get the 1 terabyte. They may do some of the other things in the diskless version for Series X. They may just leave it the way it is and just shrink the die, make it cheaper for themselves, and not tell you, right? So that's probably what's going to happen. They may have a 2 terabyte version, but I don't know if it will be $500. It might be $550, right? Okay. So just things that I'm thinking might actually happen. But this controller does seem somewhat interesting. But again, and you know what's going to happen, right? The controller that does come out won't have some of these features. It'll be, Phil lied! He lied! Phil lied! See, it was right here. It was right. Oh, no, Phil lied! Look, this is just a potential.
How it's going. How it started, how it's going. Tweet.
It's the internal leaked document. Yeah.
This was the potential for some new controller, right? And then you have to make it happen, right? And when you do, one of the issues with doing all the newfangled things is it kills battery life. So they'll have to see what the trade-offs are, right? And once you figure that out, you say, well, okay, maybe we nix this, and we now have a decent amount of battery life, and we give you some new features, not all, right? So, and again, it may just have been totally canned. They're like, yeah, we can't do it without making the battery life as bad as a DualSense, and we're not going to do that. So, right, not to knock the DualSense, but it is what it is. The battery life is substantially lower.
Controller should exist. We've been talking about this existing, actually, in many ways. We like, the device on your TV. You want to sell.
Yeah, I would expect that this is further along. It's probably going to happen. I just don't know how many of the features make it in, right? So, but yeah, I think it would be kind of cool to have this. I want the Elite.
I think this is going to happen. When Phil came out and said after the DualSense that he liked it, he liked some of the features, that he pretty much said we're going to replicate that. We're going to make our own version of it. And I like I like the direct-to-cloud feature. And I think other accessories that they might be working on too will have that same built in. So your accessory, your hardware, and your content is all going to be in the cloud, and it just move with you. Just move with you across all your devices. I can see that.
Through your TV down to your handheld. Yeah. They are actually pushing this vision quite. All the Samsung 2021 TVs already support that. You just have to push the controller. And if you do a good marketing campaign based on this cool looking controller, maybe a little bit better than this.
So gyroscope, lift to wake, kind of cool stuff.
That lift to wake feature is fire. Sort of like what the Apple Watch do. Yeah. So, especially if your console is asleep or something like that, and you just pick up your controller and it just pops on. Yeah. Along with what's the feature?
It's something behind the Hargeet. You can see it.
The feature where I forgot the marketing term, where you boot up a game and it puts you right in there.
Quick resume.
Quick resume. So imagine you lift to wake, it automatically powers your system up, and then you go straight into quick resume.
I'm sure they will have that feature.
Yeah, that'll be crazy. And that's like instant access.
Yeah,
that's instant access.
Some people may not like that because you don't want to have to, like, if you lift your
The
controller,
little kid picks up the controller, and then
and
your
it suddenly turns your
game
Xbox
turns on.
So there might be like a double step that lifts your controller. If your TV's on, your whatever's on that is paired to it just connects up. Otherwise, you hit the Xbox button and it'll turn on your Xbox or whatever, right? So, but either way, like, you know, they'll figure it out. But yeah, it looks like this could potentially be something that's coming. I'd love to see the Elite version. It was listed as not funded, so I don't know if that happens or not. But again, this is all old information. We don't know what the actual roadmap is because that was years ago.
Phil Spencer said that as well. So he made a tweet saying it's not nice for the studio's work to be revealed this way.
Yeah.
But he said a lot of changes as well. And I saw your post there, tweet there.
I think a lot of this is true.
A lot of it is true, but they'll be subject to change. And he said there would be some. There's a lot of things have changed, and a lot of people things you don't know about. He was quick to say that. So, what the games that got leaked? What were the games? So there was Oblivion,
Dishonored 3, Doom Year Zero, Oblivion Remaster, Fallout 3 Remaster. Those were the main ones.
Dishonored 3, a new Doom.
You're saying the exact same things.
Yeah. So Dishonored 3, I find very interesting given where they kind of left it off. I don't know how that all works out, but anyway, we'll see.
That was the old plan, which they'll probably double down on after Redfall.
And remember, by the way, that plan is pre-acquisition. Just to put that out there, that list of games and release dates is pre-acquisition. They got that from Bethesda as they were in the middle of acquisition, right? So that was part of their whatever. But so
subject to major changes.
Assessments of it. Now that we don't, it's obviously those dates were wrong, right? You can see
because they had Starfield for 2021.
All the dates were wrong.
Which Bethesda was going to try to release,
right? And
actually, it was.
We don't know if any of that
Lord have mercy, thank you, Phil.
Right?
Oh, that game would have been
an 75 minutes.
Typical Bethesda release, right?
Yeah,
Bethesda release, right? And but they said no, let's fix it up.
They're off by a year or two, aren't they?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years. 2021.
Indiana Jones 2024.
That's probably a year or two, right? I would expect
next year. Could be.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming next year. I think it comes out the year after. When was it listed?
It seems like it.
2022. It was listed for, I think.
Okay, so then maybe 2024, maybe.
If it's listed for 2022, that means they must have done quite some work on it.
Yeah, it was probably in some level.
I think they had Elder Scrolls 6 listed for 2024. We're a long way behind where that list had things.
So that's 2026. More longer, probably 2027. But
we'll see. We'll see what happens, right?
Indiana Jones having next year then.
Potentially. But again, some of these could be changed, right? The Oblivion thing may still be happening. I don't know. The other question is, do you want remakes or remasters? And I think they're
definitely remakes if you're going to do that, not remasters.
I would love a remake, but I think they listed as remasters, right?
Yeah, but a leak, a guy that's I forgot what form. I don't know if that was on Reset Era or if it was on Reddit. But a guy came out who works for one of the studios that's working on the remaster, I think for Skyrim, if I'm not mistaken, and he had been verified that to be an ex-employer of that developer, said they were still contemplating whether it was going to be a full remake or remaster. So on that list, it might have said remaster, but it probably evolved into a remake. But we won't know until we see.
Microsoft said, yes, let's do the remake.
I want new games though, but awesome. Yeah. I want to see
Fallout 3. I never got a chance to play that one. So I would like to play Fallout. I actually bought it and I lent it to a friend and then never got around to actually playing it.
Yeah.
Oblivion is a cursed game for me. I lost 2 Xbox 360s to Oblivion. You know, they had that Simmering or Shattered Isles expansion or whatever it was. And right in the introduction to it, you go to this house and it turns into butterflies that fly everywhere. That taxed an Xbox 360 and it gave me 2 red rings of death. So I was like, oh, guess I'm not ever going to get to see this content.
You never played it since then?
Played it to that point. Xbox 360 dead. Got a replacement. Played it to that point. Xbox 360 dead. I'm probably not going to go back to Oblivion. I've learned my lesson. Fool me twice. But...
Oblivion was good.
Wow.
Yeah, I did get through the campaign. It was just the DLC that was too much for my poor console.
Yeah. Yeah, so if they remake those, that's pretty good. Unfortunately, we kind of like lost the the oomph at a nice little E3 or whatever, right, to actually hear those. But
That's the only thing I'm mad about.
yeah,
I'm mad.
but,
Look,
you know.
I mean, it leaked, whatever we know, but some of that stuff would have been great to be surprised.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
not
the
see
thing.
it
I
coming.
don't.
Like that
I don't like the
controller,
leaks like that.
that
Yeah.
controller, and even the I don't know if I would have got the wireless version of the X's, because this, like you said, the monolith version is incredible, but still to have been surprised and to see that at a show and been like, what? It just
That's the whole. Yeah, I hate
Yeah.
that about leaks. It just
And
takes
the
away
worst
hype.
is the expectation now is that this is what we're getting, right? Whatever's listed here.
yeah.
And it's like, well, it may not be that. And like,
The
now
big
you're
one
gonna
is the
say, well,
console.
why didn't
The
they
next gen
add this
console may
feature?
not end up being that hybrid,
Yeah,
and that
exactly.
would be the worst for me. I'd be like,
Yeah,
oh.
you know, so who knows if we get the full feature list or whatever they were going to put in the Series X, the refresh, but you know, whatever. I like it doesn't do anything different. So like as far as the power, it's the same.
Yeah, Wi-Fi
So,
6 and
Yeah,
updated
like,
some of that stuff, but yeah, it's just
2
a
terabytes instead of
it's
one.
like a
Okay,
slim
it's kinda
version
cool.
of the Series X, basically. It's the slim
Yeah.
version. That's what I would call it, the slim version, basically.
Yeah. So not a mid-gen refresh like we were thinking, but just a standard refresh. We get those, right? Those always come. So
I still would
But yeah.
have wanted to be.
Can you imagine the
surprised.
person who uploaded the documents, like that lawyer or whoever, like the paralegal who did
The
it?
paralegal? Yeah.
Bro, they just fucking wrecked the plans of Microsoft. I've veiled all the investors,
shit,
you
but-
know, like AWS cloud
now,
numbers.
since you're a lawyer, I'm actually curious. Do you think that would be the law firm they hired? Would that be
Yeah.
internal Microsoft?
I don't know if they have in-house lawyers. I would imagine they do.
Well, I'm sure they have an in-house legal team, but I know
But
they hired
who's
external people we
responsible
know
for
they
that?
hired in-
It was
but
on
yeah, I
the
don't- for
FTC
that one.
website, wasn't it? Yeah. So
It was an upload to the FTC. It was an upload
Well,
to the
court, wasn't
FTC.
it?
It was an upload to the court.
Yeah,
It was
court
an
Well,
upload.
website.
Microsoft submitted it. George
it'll be one
Corley had
person who has done
requested.
it.
They requested that specific documentation, and I think it was supposed to be redacted. You have an unredacted version and a redacted version.
Yeah.
It was submitted to the court, and then the court uploaded that to the public website. I don't know who got them documents and then looked through them, or looked through them and said, "Okay, this is fine to upload to a public website." But
Yeah.
It's for the redacted party that who's responsible for redactions to make sure they're correct. The court
Yeah.
doesn't need to do that. It's protecting
Yeah.
their information after all. But you have to feel sorry for
Well,
like
worse
the
in this
person.
case, it's
Yeah.
also other parties' information like Nintendo and Sony.
Yeah.
Some other
But even
third parties.
still, don't
It's like,
don't you
Yeah.
reach out and say, Microsoft, you sent me an unredacted version?
But they didn't know until it was found out. The media who are constantly
Yeah.
hunting for news and they're just scraping LinkedIn, scraping the government website and backlinks. That's how. By the way, that's how journalists do it. I've been told they're just scraping the back end of like information, almost like quasi hacking is how they get their information. So like they're doing this all the time. So that by the time they found out, it would be too late. I feel sorry for the person who did it because we all make mistakes. So it's like it's
Yeah.
gonna be
That's a
innocent
huge-
paralegals.
But it's a big mistake.
The ramification is massive for the company. All that disclosure,
Yeah.
all the future
Some-
plans.
Some of their actual email addresses are still in there. They weren't.
Yeah, I
redacted.
know
I don't know how that actually
Microsoft.
happens, by the
I
way.
know Microsoft was
Yeah.
like,
When you're
yeah, we-
dumping emails, that's one of the things you automatically do is I'm redacting the email addresses. You don't do that, but like they have.
I don't know.
people's
That's
actual email
mad
address,
to
like,
me.
Wow, dude,
Yeah.
that was a
I
big
feel-
miss.
It's a big blunder. Whoever you are, it's a big blunder. But don't look. Everyone makes mistakes. It's just that you happen to work for an organization on a case that was so massive that the equivalent mistake that may not have been that big in your case is fucking ginormous. Way beyond you can
Ginormous.
probably measure. I'm talking billions online. Jeez, but
Okay.
don't feel bad.
I don't
God
care
have
how
mercy.
Philstown in that letter he sent out, he was pissed.
Oh yeah.
I
of
know
course they
all
are.
them executives was pissed. Satya too.
It's got to be.
They
bad,
needed
yeah.
Every bro,
we need a
freaking
head
plowed.
right now. We need a head, Judge Corley. You gonna have to. Whoever push that button, we need their head right now.
Yeah, I know they want to fight, but what can you do? Just the person's gonna be like, "I'm sorry." Yeah, fuck. Fuck. Imagine being your legacy. It's just like I just fucked this company up because I had too many fucking brownies and just went into work and uploaded the wrong document. Crazy. God Emperor Sofa King with a $2 super chat. Sony's fanboys are shook. Let the salt flow, bruv. We've been feasting off the salt. Our cholesterol levels are ridiculous right now. It has been. They've been salty as fuck. The game roadmap isn't there. ABK is happening now. It's like they'll have Spider-Man and that meme. All I have is Spider-Man, and that's all they have is Spider-Man. And they're going to ride the third-party wave as well. The first parties are making gas games. Like the stables are not. Even the content creators. You see some grifting to other sides. Isn't that right? Post up, but like we're seeing that. So it's just like a weird. Like even though PlayStation is doing tremendously well in the core gaming circles right now, Microsoft finally gets a win with Starfield. Spider-Man will probably rate higher than Starfield. 88,
Spider-Man gonna go crazy. I'm just gonna be honest. I think Spider-Man 2, if they do the commercials right with Venom and showing that you could play both Spider-Man, I think that it's such a huge IP. I think it's just for the sale crazy. I
saw people's reactions to the Venom thing and like I won't mention their names, the content creators, they're literally looking like they were masturbating over this. I'm just like, wow. Venom is obviously a big comic book thing for you guys to be reacting this way. So, you know, marketing potential's there. Game's going to sell mad. Probably score really well. Could it potentially be in the 90s? So, like, you know, as much as weak as it sounds on paper, there are some big immediate wins as well. So, you know, let's see. Starfield didn't do the 90 meta thing, and that's significant as well in the perception of things. But it's been an incredible show. Oh, Spider-Man won't win Game of the Year? I don't think so either. But it's been an incredible show. I hope Hargeet's here, but he might have popped out before he comes back. Oh, he's there. Post up. Talk to us, bro. Thank you so much. This was a massively long show. Sorry, we had so much to talk about this stuff. Thank you so much, man. It was always a pleasure when you're here, bro.
It's always a pleasure for you all having me. It's always a ball coming on this show, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to Asa. Shout out to Hargeet. Wonderful conversation. And, you know, it's no problem, man. Just reach out to me anytime. And if I can, I will definitely pull up. I'm definitely looking to grab you and a couple other people when this thing finally. See, I ain't cooked yet. I ain't really saying
waiting for you, bro.
But once we get that final sound that said we approve this deal.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be.
And what are you gonna do?
Look, I'm calling names.
How are you calling names?
I'm pulling up receipts.
You're still holding on to those. I'm releasing mine already.
hey, release them because you probably got some I ain't got.
I'm releasing my source videos on this.
Let me tell you something. I never thought you could be disrespected just for reporting on something. Right?
Yeah, you were, man.
But let me tell you, we gonna get it back though. We gonna get it back in blood. You feel me? Because when this thing finally go through, I'm gonna talk my shit. I'm gonna talk.
Yes.
I'm gonna celebrate and I'm gonna talk my shit.
Go for it. Go on. Get started. You feel it, bro.
Hold on, that's my lady. My bad. That's my lady. Hold on.
His wife comes in as I'm playing the music to hype him up. Thank you, first up. Music hype because my wife's here. But runs off. Hargeet, no pressure. It's all on you. You can sing to this weird song. I didn't mean to play this. Okay, I hope you had a good time, man.
Of course, man. Every time.
Thank you, man, for coming on as well. And before you do, Nintendo the Otaku says, just remember that Super Mario Wonder will double Spider-Man 2 sales and score higher too on the same release
Probably
date.
not wrong. He's
Ooh.
probably
A lot of
not wrong.
Xbox fans will be holding on to this Mario.
I mean,
and
the
Nintendo.
realities of the fact that there's that many more Switches out there. It's 130 something million versus what 45, 50 million, maybe 60 million. So
But
you're
will
looking
this
at
Mario?
half.
If it doesn't happen, oh my god,
What?
Nintendo fans are going to be the.
I highly
Nintendo
doubt
fans-
it won't, dude. I mean, you think a
I
Mario
don't
game
think
isn't
so.
gonna sell? I mean, like
Nah, I can't
That
see
Mario
that.
game finna
holiday
go.
season.
That
It's-
Mario game finna go crazy. It even got me
20
thinking
million,
about buying
probably.
the Switch,
20
but they
million.
telling me to wait on the Switch too.
Really?
That Mario game
This-
looks incredible,
It
and I
does.
like the online
What?
features that
It
they
does.
doing.
It
You
looks
know,
great.
it
Yeah,
looks
the online stuff
incredible.
kind of is a nice.
The
influence of
online
what they
stuff
should have,
is-
right.
What
yeah,
did you
it's
think
cool.
of Mario?
What was that?
I don't remember, like what was so good about it.
Mario Wonder.
What?
If you haven't seen the direct for
you
it,
haven't seen that direct for
I
it?
think I have.
worth
I have.
With the
watching.
online features,
It looks
where
good,
you could
dude. It looks
4
good.
players and you got other. It's like a lot. You got other people. You can see other
can
people
help you
playing in the
out
game
online.
that
This
can
is
help you out
online.
while you
It's-
playing. Yeah, you got
It's
to
so
go back and
different,
look
dude.
at
You gotta
that.
check it out. It's
Yeah.
so good. Man.
Super
You can
Mario
play up to
Wonder.
4. You can play up to 4 people
Dude.
online or local, right? And then it's like a live world because while you in the world playing, other people that's playing could be in the same world helping you out and doing stuff, and you can see that, bruh. It's fire. It's dope. It's dope. I'm like, I need to
I've
go.
been sleeping on this. I've been
So
sleeping on
I was
this.
like, I need to go get a Switch, but then they was like, just wait for the
Still
Switch
play-
too.
I'm still
Nah,
playing
don't
Tears of
wait.
the Kingdom.
Just play.
You know what? I need to smash Tears of the Kingdom. I just do on my journeys to work, but that that's
Man, oh man. But yeah, so he's probably not wrong. I would expect it to probably double the sales of Spider-Man. Like I'm just like thinking for let's
Oh,
say
yeah,
they have
there it
50
goes on
million
screen.
consoles and have
Is
a
it?
15% attach rate, which would be phenomenal, right? The first one had a 10% attach rate in the first quarter. It was like 9-ish million for 90 million-ish PS4s, right? So I'll give it 15% attach rate. That'll be like 7 million sales, something like that. 7-8 million sales
For what, Mario?
for no for Spider-Man.
For Spider-Man?
And for Mario, I would expect it to do 10 million day one, and by the end of the year, it'll be 20.
It'd be about 30, 40, 50, somewhere up in there. It's gonna go crazy.
I just don't
It's
see
gonna
it
go
not
crazy.
being that way.
Well, this looks
With
mad.
130 million freaking consoles, like a 10% attach rate for a Mario is a joke. So they're gonna sell like 13 just like that, right? And like
You say Spider-Man 7 million? Is that the first
I
week?
think 7-8 million in the first quarter, right?
First
'Cause
quarter,
I'm
okay.
just thinking like how many PlayStation 5s because they're not putting it on PC. If they put it on PC,
Yes,
then
the
yeah,
local
they'd sell
woman's
a lot
upset
more.
after mailbox vandalized by fireworks. We got it again.
Local woman upset after mailbox vandalized by fireworks.
Oh, I think that's a little thing that comes up, right? A caption. that comes
Yeah.
up. All right. I'll switch it to something.
It's a bit late now.
I'll switch
You
it
keep
to-
distracted, Asa,
to
with the
ABK.
fireworks. Yes, sir.
But yeah, so
my
I'm just
ABK
looking
brother, yes.
at the numbers. He's very likely right. I think it'll probably double the sales, and I would expect, like we were saying, it'd probably be a high 80s, maybe low 90s for Spider-Man. I would expect probably low to mid 90s for Mario. We'll see.
I
But
get mid 80s.
you think for Mario is mid 80s?
No, not Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Mid
For
80s.
Why,
Spider-Man.
I mean,
I think
Mario looks
Mario
so
will
good. Why?
probably be in the high 80s or 90s.
Yeah, I think so too.
Preferably
Based on what you showed me there.
Yeah, it
Let's
looks
go to
so
the
good,
Nintendo
man.
bias. Let's be
You need to go
real.
watch that video and listen to the guy explain the features and what you could do, though. It's fine.
Yeah. We'll see. Xbox fans will suddenly be
have the
Nintendo
Xbox
fans.
tax, so it has the opposite. I think it has the Nintendo bump.
This is why I like the ponies went so hard on Baldur's Gate. Yeah. So like, oh yeah, Baldur's Gate, even though it was a timed exclusive and it wasn't even on the console, it was on PC. So what do you think Xbox guys are gonna do on the same day that Mario comes out and with Spider-Man? It's gonna be a fun.
That intrigued me, right? They went, oh, this is a PlayStation exclusive. It ain't coming out on Xbox and next year. And soon they announced the Xbox version was coming out this year. Stop talking about it. When it launched on PlayStation 5, I ain't seen none of them PlayStation a screenshot.
Genuinely, it's only like 1 or 2 people sharing. The rest of it, I do not see any Baldur's Gate screens whatsoever. They're not even trying, bruv, because they have to pay full price for the game. So they're not even. It's like,
I wonder if a lot of those players will actually like it. And it didn't sell that highly, I guess. I don't know if it sold that well. I think PC is kind of the place for that game, right?
Yeah.
The majority of the players who play that kind of game, they're on PC already, and so that's where it's going to do its best. But good luck to them, right, Larry? I did not like the game, but good luck to Larry, and hopefully they.
I think
they
a lot of PlayStation's dudes were celebrating and didn't even know what type of game it was. They was just celebrating it because they consider, despite it being out on PC, they still considered it a PlayStation exclusive. And then when some of them actually played it, they're like, "This is not my cup of tea." Well, that's what you get.
but it's Baldur's Gate. They'll shout about the name, but because if PlayStation doesn't have a Western RPG outfit, the best bet is a temporary exclusive, circumstantially. But that was an extension to the show. But thank you both. No, honestly, I appreciate it. I was just having a good time talking about it. Thank you everyone in chat. If you enjoyed it, please smash that like button. And we're gonna say goodbye before we do. Asa, talk to the peoples.
I'm tired. My PC is fixed. I'll be back to streaming all the time and all the rest of it. A few other things lined up for the little channel as well. And the stream works. Nothing broke. So it's a successful evening. I'm happy with that. That's all I got.
Well done, man.
What about you guys? Do your own outro.
Source video coming on my personal channel, Septic Source, and in about 2 weeks you're gonna see some madness on my personal channel. It's gonna be really good. I can't wait to share it. It's gonna be funny. But the Source video should be out tomorrow. Sorry, I tried to do it for Friday, and I spent so long editing this little bit that I just want to make it such a good soundtrack. So I just wanted to add some flavor. I don't know if everyone will like it, but I liked it. Just the fucking montage of it all. But yeah, let's see hopefully you like it tomorrow. Should be out tomorrow. Septic Source. But hit the like button, smash it out, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Peace.